It is 6 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN. I'm Brian Wilson. I am your friend and radio buddy, and this is The Drive for the 23rd day of March. It is a Thursday. We're rocking right through the week. We're rocking right through the month of March, and pretty soon the lamb will arrive because they always say March comes in like a lion, out like a lamb.
It's what we're hoping, anyway.
That's what we're hoping. Although it's pretty breezy outside today.
But it is warm, though.
It's warmer, yeah. I know that. By the way, I don't often take the first part of my show to agree with the previous host. But I was listening, and Matt Murphy said something that nobody believes is true, but he's right.
What's that?
About merging. You have two lanes, and then you're going to lose a lane, right? And everybody gets over early and thinks that's the most efficient way to get traffic through that little. It's not true.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Matt Murphy is absolutely right about this. The most efficient way to get the most people through that is for everybody to go down, use up every bit of lane that you have, and then to zipper it, like he said.
Zipper, yeah.
Zipper, one. That is the most efficient way to get traffic through a choke point. There have been studies on this. Nobody believes it, and people get angry when you do it.
Yes, they do.
They get really angry. I mean, in some places you'll see like a big truck will pull over to keep people from doing it. Yeah, and I'm telling you, they are ill-informed.
Well, and they're just causing more problems, too. They're slowing down even further by doing that.
That's right. So I'm telling you, he's right. And do your research before you condemn him, because I've seen the studies and I've read those. It's been a while. I don't know if I can lay my hands on him, but I mean he's correct about that. And if you're angry, send your cards to Matt Murphy, care of. No, he's right. He's right. This Donald Trump thing is getting interestinger and interestinger, if that's a word, and I know it's not. And now we got this story that's coming out of New York City that says that well, you know what? I think that it comes from Alvin Bragg, the DA attorney up there, who was going to bring Trump in on the Stormy Daniels, as he calls it, the horseface Stormy Daniels case, and he says, look. I think that Trump created a false expectation that he would be arrested. There's a term for this. It's called backpedaling. I am backpedaling away from all the things that we thought were going to happen. I mean, he started it when he called in all of the law enforcement and said, look, we're going to be arresting the former president of the United States, and we need to have security, ready for all this. And then Trump, the thing about Trump is, I think Trump, in fact, I got a story here. It says that he is absolutely 1,000% on board with the idea of being indicted, put in handcuffs, doing the perp walk, having the mug shot, having the whole 9 yards. And you know why? Because he is like the Teflon Don is what he is. That's what he is. And nothing sticks to this guy. And in fact, I think if you could make a pretty strong case that ever since this story started to percolate, that this runaway DA was going to try to, bring up these charges in this very weak case with a novel legal theory that has never been tested in a court of law, and was going to try to ram it and make sure that the former president gets indicted on this thing. Something that the Justice Department looked at and walked away from with good reason. There was no case there. Well, I think that it helped him in the ratings. His numbers are up precipitously in fast order. I think it actually helped him. And I began to think, this guy is just defies traditional political, thought. He reminds me of Obi-Wan Kenobi. He reminds me, we'll call him Obi-Don Kenobi. Remember what Obi-Wan said when he faced Darth Vader?
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
That's exactly how you describe Trump. You know, the more you throw at him, the more powerful that he becomes with Republicans. His numbers are up. DeSantis' numbers are down. And there's no doubt about it that if the election were held today, I think Trump would be the nominee. He would be the Republican nominee. Now, we've got some time. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but, I mean, that's the way it sort of looks today. His numbers are going up, and DeSantis' numbers are going down. And what has changed? The fact that a woke DA up in New York decided that he was going to try to pick up this case and try some kind of novel legal theory and try to revive a case that has been sitting dormant for years. So anyway, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg said that House GOP lawmakers have no legitimate basis for inquiring into his investigation. That's something that has happened. And he says that's not going to happen. And he says that Trump has created a false expectation that he was going to be arrested. The district attorney said he would not be intimidated by Republican lawmakers seeking to undermine the judicial process, nor will he let the baseless accusations deter him from fairly applying the law. But I get the sense that he's backpedaling. Here's another take on it from the Post Millennial. Bragg's office said that the GOP's letter only came after Donald Trump created a false expectation that he'd be arrested the next day. A false expectation? I don't know that there's a false expectation. There was a grand jury testimony. Michael Cohen testified. Stormy Daniels testified. The law enforcement are called in and said, be ready, because we're going to do this, and you don't know how that's going to play out. You need to be ready, law enforcement, for whatever happens. I don't think that's a false expectation. I think he caused that expectation, and I think he thought he had a pretty good case until this Robert Costello fellow went in there and just blew it up. I mean, he destroyed the case, annihilated the case by bringing letters from Michael Cohen that said that he did this on his own volition. He took out a HELOC loan. He said, I thought that I didn't want Melania to find out about this. I thought it would be embarrassing and make his life difficult. I didn't want my wife to know, so I took out a HELOC loan for $130,000. I got an NDA with Stormy Daniels, and we put this little nuisance suit together, and we paid her $130,000 to sign the NDA, which, by the way, she has broken. That non-disclosure agreement. And so, Costello went in there and just blew up his case. And then there's a letter that he produced that said, in no uncertain terms, Donald Trump had no knowledge of this and did not reimburse me. So how in the world could you make this case? And I think that, once the Costello went in there and laid out all this evidence, they realized we don't have a case. And now you hear him saying, well, it was a false expectation. We weren't really sure whether we were going to bring a case. Yeah, they were sure. They were certain they were going to bring a case. They were certain that there was going to be an indictment until Costello blew up the case. And now you have Donald Trump, who is Obi-Don Kenobi.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Coming full circle there. There you go. Here's the other story from the New York Post. Former President Donald Trump has reportedly said that he wants to be hauled into court in handcuffs if he's slapped with unprecedented charges in the hush money case involving Stormy Daniels. Trump, age 76, told advisors of his plan, saying that if he has to go through the ordeal of getting arrested and arraigned, he'd prefer making it a spectacle. The ex-president, who's seeking the Republican nomination for a third White House bid in 2024, also wants to avoid any special treatment that would make him look weak, the sources said. It's unclear how serious Trump is about the plan. I think he's plenty serious about it. Trump lawyers are so adamantly opposed and have urged him to quietly surrender and be arraigned remotely if he's indicted. The lawyers have reportedly pointed to Secret Service concerns about security, leading Trump to tell pals this weekend that he didn't care if he got shot because he would make him a martyr. I mean, come on. I don't know. I think he could be. I don't know if he said that or not, but that's what he's being quoted as saying. Trump also speculated that an attack on him would propel him back in the presidency. No ex-U.S. president has ever been charged with a crime. So, if Trump wanted, and I think that seems authentic to me. I mean, what you know about Trump, doesn't that sort of make you feel like that's exactly where he would be? So let's just look big picture here. This Alvin Bragg DA guy, this Soros-controlled DA, is deciding that, well, we need to go after Trump. We need to take him down a peg. I'm going to, revive an old case that really legitimately should never be brought. It would be a misdemeanor, but I'm going to turn it into a felony somehow with some magical legal voodoo. That's what we're going to do. We're going to sprinkle some fairy dust on it and make it a felony. And then you get the Costello guy who comes in at the last minute and completely annihilates the case, just dissembles it piece by piece by piece by piece to where we're told that, people in the grand jury were actually nodding in agreement with Costello, saying, yeah, I mean, that doesn't seem right. We can't trust this guy, Cohen, who came in and testified. And then now he's backpedaling because I think they've gotten it figured out that the more you attack Trump, the stronger he becomes. It's just weird reverse political dynamics at play. I mean, with nobody else would it be this way, but it is with Donald Trump. And it doesn't change where people are. I mean, if you like Donald Trump, you still like him. I think it does change some people who are Republican-leaning independents. They lean to the right rather than the left most of the time. I think they might have been flirting with DeSantis, and they like DeSantis, but, they don't feel that it's right what has happened to Trump. And I think those people have come back over into the Trump column to the point where if, again, the primary election were held today, Trump would be the nominee. So, who else noticed this? There's a great little piece of audio. You have to listen very carefully. Chris Rock noted this. Chris Rock was caught in one of his more recent shows, asking the rhetorical question, are you really going to arrest Trump?
Are you guys really going to arrest Trump? Do you know this is only going to make him more popular? It's like arresting Tupac. He's just going to sell more records.
In case you couldn't hear that, he said he's going to be like Tupac. You're only going to make him more popular. He's just going to sell more records. Crazy times we live in. Again, there's no there to this case. And even though the grand jury may be coming back next week, I think they're going to find a way to walk away from this, because I think Democrats realize that by going down this pathway, they don't hurt Trump, they help Trump. And if they haven't figured it out, then they're dumber than I think. And I think they're pretty dumb. 20 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7. How you faring in this rough and tumble market? The experts at Beacon Capital Management understand it can be a little scary. But here's the thing. Beacon Capital Management has a plan to assess where you are and help you make any mid-course corrections that may be needed. I mean, wouldn't it be great to have peace of mind that you're on the right path? Beacon can provide you that reassurance. It starts with a simple phone call. The experts at Beacon will take it from there. I mean, what do you have to lose except for all the worry? Get started today by calling 615-488-9303. At the end of the process, you'll be able to rest easy knowing you have a plan that meets all your retirement goals. Replace the worry with confidence that you're on the right path, that all the T's have been crossed, that all the I's have been dotted. And again, that number is 615-488-9303. The experts at Beacon stand ready to take your stress away. Learn more at beaconcm.com.
The CEO of TikTok on Capitol Hill today, and Ukraine in need of ammunition, seeing what the U.S. and the EU might do to help them, and an overturned semi-truck in Murfreesboro. We tell you all about it right here, 30 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 24 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Kirsten Sinema left the Democrat Party and became an independent, and she is she gave a speech the other day, and she started talking about, there's actually an interview that she gave to Politico, and she started describing what it is to go to the Democrat policy luncheon. And she says, I don't go anymore. I mean, I caucus with Democrats. That's just for committee assignments. But I don't consider myself a Democrat anymore, and I stopped going to the policy lunches. Now, if you don't know, each week in the Senate, there's a policy luncheon. Republicans go into one room and have lunch, and the Democrats go to another room and they have lunch. And, I remember this very distinctly when I was covering the Hill, because, there was a little choke point right by the bank of elevators where, when senators came out of either of those rooms, they either wanted to go to the Senate floor or they wanted to go to the elevator bank and go back to their offices. And if you were looking for somebody, you could get them there, and we would hang out. And it was in, I've told this story before, it was in this setting that we would always try not to look Joe Biden in the eye, because he would come over and talk to you and just wear you out. I mean, it's funny. There was a time when you couldn't get Joe Biden to shut up around reporters, and now he doesn't talk to them at all. But one way or the other, these luncheons are where they discuss strategy, and Kirsten Sinema has said, I just stopped going. And she's described, she described these luncheons as a bunch of old white guys eating Jell-O.
Watch it glimmer, see it shimmer, cool and fruity, Jell-O brand gelatin of all desserts.
I mean, who doesn't love Jell-O? I mean, honestly, I'm not sure this was the right thing. Everybody loves Jell-O.
Where did you get that?
Oh, you think that's good?
J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family.
Wow.
Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. That's Jell-O. Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum, yum. Jell-O,
It's way back.
That's an old radio spot, yeah.
Wow.
After the kids are off to school, I often take a couple of minutes to make them light Jell-O gelatin snacks for when they get home. I make the snacks in paper cups, and the kids just love it.
They love it.
And I like them because they don't spoil our appetites. Just prepare any flavor of Jell-O gelatin.
Well, it's an instructional.
That's the brand I prefer.
Yes, yeah.
Pour it into paper cups.
Paper cups,
Add fruit or whatever you happen to have on hand.
whatever you got.
Then place the cups in the refrigerator. So after school, the kids will have a nice snack
There
waiting
you go.
for them.
For Jenny Schrang's Jell-O snack idea, see April Women's magazines. To make a light snack that's fun to eat, start with Jell-O.
That's right. Start
Thanks,
with Jell-O.
Mom.
I know. I mean, who among us doesn't love Jell-O? I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's delicious. And she's mocking these old white guys eating Jell-O, and she says, this is good, the old white guys from the South eat their Jell-O with cottage cheese.
Ugh.
And the old white guys from the northern states eat their Jell-O with Cool Whip.
Whip?
Whip. It's an old joke. No, Cool Whip. Yeah, that's right. And then now there are people who are trying to get up on Capitol, trying to get the reaction of people who have been called old white guys eating Jell-O, and they're not biting because they need her. They need her. They don't want to alienate her. They may not consider her a Democrat now, but they need her vote from time to time. And so they're not going to attack her for having attacked them. She's been a very effective legislator, Schumer said before heading into a Senate elevator, ignoring further questions about how he liked his Jell-O. How do you like your Jell-O, Senator? Are you a cottage cheese or a Cool Whip guy?
And do you like lime or strawberry?
Well, and listen, there's only two kinds of, I'm just going to tell you right now, there's only two kinds of Jell-O worth having, cherry and strawberry. It's got to be
Oh.
red.
All right.
And honestly, if you put strawberry and cherry side by side, I'm not sure you can tell the difference.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that tells you how authentic the flavoring is.
The flavor is red. What flavor do you want? I want red. When you at school, did you ever, you go down, you get in a plate lunch at school, right? Did you have plate lunches at school?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you get through the line, you're going through the plate lunch, and there, instead of a salad, would be a jiggly bowl of red Jell-O.
I guess so. I'm not sure I remember. Yeah.
I didn't have the salad or the Jell-O. I know that.
Yeah.
I never was a big Jell-O fan, though. I know that's blasphemous, Brian, but
Yeah, that's
sorry.
Jello. I remember it. And by the way, then she's giving another speech, and then she's doing an interview again with a guy from Fox, and she had a story she was telling about an encounter she had with former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, who was curious about how she was going to vote on a nomination, and she said, I flashed I flashed the middle finger to demonstrate what she thinks of the powerful, now departed White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain.
I thought she was going to say
Kirsten
something
Sinema,
else.
I'm telling you, I don't know what to think about Kirsten Sinema. I mean, she is openly gay. She's bi. She says so. That's no big secret. She is not a Democrat. She's not a Republican. Sometimes she votes left. Sometimes she votes right. And she has been making the rounds with Republicans and raising money from traditionally Republican sources. Nobody knows exactly what her political future is, but she operates to the beat of a different drum. And here's two things that I will tell you about Kirsten Sinema that I've picked up from talking to people on the beat down there. Number one, she's viewed as incredibly effective, and number two, almost everybody likes her. So there you have it. Jell-O. Now I'm going to have Jell-O.
I was going to say. Yeah.
31 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7.
3:32. I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 75 degrees, a cloudy day in Nashville. A little dreary. This is preparing us for what is to come. More than likely tomorrow evening into Saturday morning, expecting some severe thunderstorms. Weather and traffic in a few minutes. The House Energy and Commerce Committee is grilling the CEO of TikTok on Capitol Hill today. Mike Dubusky brings us some more info.
Lawmakers' concerns center around the potential for American user data to find its way back to the Chinese government. TikTok's leader, Shouzi Chu, is pushing back, saying the company stores the information it collects on U.S. users in the United States on servers operated by American tech firm Oracle.
The bottom line is this: American data stored on American soil by an American company, overseen by American personnel.
When pressed, Chu did say some older American data is still stored overseas.
With Ukraine facing ammunition shortages after more than a year of fighting, EU leaders are endorsing joint ammunition purchases for Ukraine. Ines de la Catera.
At a summit in Brussels, leaders from the European Union approving a plan to send Ukraine 1 million rounds of artillery ammunition over the course of the next year. The leaders also saying they could send missiles if requested. Ukrainian President Zelensky hailing the move. Zelensky, though, has also been pushing for modern warplanes and long-range missiles, which some Western nations have been reluctant to agree to.
And here in Tennessee, Channel 4 says that a semi-truck filled with Pillsbury products overturned in Murfreesboro today. The truck allegedly overcorrected on a curve, which caused the truck to fall into a ditch. The truck came to a halt right before a railroad crossing. The cleanup process is underway, and the driver's condition is unknown. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
We all know Genesis diamonds because they're well known for their diamonds, of course, right? Hand-picked, carefully cut, super brilliant, top quality. But Genesis is also well known for their amazing rings, the mounting that showcases the diamond. At most stores, you'll get the same old boring, mass-produced, generic-looking rings. But at Genesis, they carry rings from the world's top designers, exclusive designers, names like Tacori and Verragio and dozens more. These are handcrafted rings, made in America rings. And Genesis is proud to offer the latest styles and designs, so the ring you have is special, unique, and not a carbon copy of your friend's ring. Check out the all-new knife edge bands at Genesis. This is the new thing. The knife edge setting looks amazing. It looks like a classic silhouette with a sharp edge that goes all the way around. The knife edge creates the illusion of a thinner band, which makes the diamond appear larger. Genesis has over 4,000 mountings in stock, and they can also custom design something for you. Just ask. So while the diamond is important, the overall look of the ring is just as vital. So let the non-commissioned experts at Genesis help you find the ring of her dreams. Genesis Diamonds, expert guidance, unbeatable selection, highest quality, and legendary value. Go see them in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Winkler. The financial world can be full of landmines for investors. On the one hand, investment firms and the financial community will often overcomplicate the financial planning process to confuse investors. As one guy who used to work a big investment firm once told me, if an investor thinks that they're over their head, they'll blindly trust you. And it's easier to sell to them. I'm glad I'm away from that. On the other hand, many people oversimplify investing to the detriment of investors. Just having a little knowledge can be really dangerous. The idea there is the same. It's just a different way of selling things. At Paul Winkler Inc., we like working alongside our clients with an education guidance approach. I believe that there's confidence that comes with knowing what you're doing and why. We abide by the very highest level of fiduciary care, and we use the most sophisticated financial planning tools out there. And every one of our offices is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years experience. No kids fresh out of college. If that sounds like a winning formula, set up a free 15-minute phone call to learn more. Go to paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950. You can do this.
But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy.
Time for a crazy Democrat update.
Maybe we're crazy. Probably.
All right. We told you a moment ago that if the Republican primary were held today, it looks like Donald Trump would be the nominee. I mean, his numbers are very strong. They have strengthened in the last few days as DeSantis' numbers have gone off a little bit. Of course, it's very early, and nothing is cast in stone as yet, and we're a long way from actually having him. We don't even have DeSantis in the race as yet. But what's going on the other side of the equation? Well, according to thehill.com and the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research survey, President Biden's approval rating has hit the lowest point of his presidency, it's very near to the lowest point. That's the more accurate way to put it. The survey found that Biden had a 38% approval rating, marking a fall from a recent month. His approval rating last month was 45%, up from 41% in January. Biden's lowest point in the polling was last July, when 36% of respondents approved of the job he was doing in the Oval Office. So it's almost back to where it was at his lowest point. I mean, the trend is not good. The Biden administration had scrambled recently to deal with high-profile bank failures that shook the U.S. banking system and threatened a wider economic crisis. The banking wobbles, that's a nice word for it, comes as the federal government has fought against inflation that remains stubbornly high. Just 31% of respondents said that they approve of Biden's stewardship of the national economy, a level of confidence that has held steady over the last year. The poll had a margin of error of 4 percentage points. The dip in overall support comes after Biden saw stronger public opinion results following a number of legislative victories. And so, he went up there. But after Biden was able to take a victory lap in the State of the Union address this year, Republicans targeted the president and his handling of the U.S. economy, and that seems to have had an impact. The looming debt ceiling battle has prompted the GOP to frame Biden's tenure thus far as a period of reckless government spending, as Republicans angle for spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt ceiling. I think that's the right way to do it. I think that's absolutely the right way to do it. In the nation's capital, in the swamp, Joe Biden has now got a nickname among reporters. He's hiding Biden. Despite he's not answering questions, and the Free Beacon went back to see, well, how does he compare with other presidents of the modern era? And what you find out is that Biden has participated in 375 informal question and answer sessions. Now, these are things where people pull him over to the microphone and ask him one question. He gives one answer, one-word answers, and walks away. So there's not really a great exchange of information there. But he has done that more often than Trump, Obama, or Bush. But these are extremely brief engagements that can feature as little as a single-word reply before he walks away. And then he doesn't take, it makes it look like he's answering questions, but he's really not giving you any information. So they have looked at all of this. And by far, the person who gave the most interviews was Barack Obama. He's given twice as many press conferences as Biden has. Donald Trump gave twice as many press conferences, but interviews he gave out the wazoo. But really, honestly, the numbers are not very good when you look at what Biden has done. He's not answering the questions. He is hiding in plain sight. He spends a lot of time in Delaware. I forgot the latest numbers. We get them every Friday. When he heads to Delaware, we get another accounting of how many days he spent in Delaware. But it's a sizable amount of time that he has spent away from the White House and away from reporters, not answering any questions at all. And it's starting to get a little surly in the White House briefing room. That briefing room, if you don't know, it's very small. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. It's very small, and there are an incredibly large number of people packed into a very small space, and they're all living in some kind of closet with a sliding glass door on it. And it can be miserable. When I was working for Fox and I was doing White House work, there were often as many as 4 people inside a closet. And you couldn't turn around without bumping into somebody. It was unbelievably cramped, and that makes you sort of, you're just not, it's not a pleasant situation. And it's even more pleasant when each day you go there, day after day after day after day, and you get nothing from the person that you're supposed to be there ostensibly covering, the President of the United States. So they're getting real surly. A lot has been said about this guy, Atiba, who is an African reporter, and how they have treated him. I'm not a big fan of showboating in the briefing room. The briefing room is a place where you try to get information as best you can. That is your best opportunity. And, you know, I never was complete, even during the Clinton years when we were in the middle of doing when they were in the middle of the Monica Lewinsky scandal, you know, I got questions asked and answered. I can't think of many days that they went around me. And I get that, but his behavior has not been, I think, at times the best. You can quibble if you want. I don't care. Big city, in other Democrat news, big city Democrats, according to the Washington Examiner, have been incredibly slow to recognize that crime is a top issue. And boy, do I tell you, they don't get it at all. And this is gonna hurt them big time. The president has started to pick up on it, because you know what he did the other day? There was a measure that was going to take out, a Republican measure was going to take out a D.C. City Council soft on crime provision. And they were going to take it out. And so all the Democrats in D.C. thought, well, the president will veto it if the Republicans stop us from home rule and writing our own legislation. The president will come to our rescue. The president didn't. He let that bill that the Republicans had written, knocking back the soft on crime provisions in the D.C. City Council, he let that go through. He signed it. And so, he gets the fact that the Democrats have a real soft spot here. Here we go from the Washington Examiner. National Democrats have shifted dramatically on crime over the past year based on signs that voters have tired of liberal criminal justice reform. But some of the party's state and local elected officials haven't gotten the memo. I think this is probably true in Nashville. It's a divide that was on stark display this week during a heated debate in Chicago's mayoral race. One of the two Democrat candidates, Brandon Johnson, has continued to embrace progressive criminal justice policies despite the headwinds his party has faced. His opponent, Paul Vallas, has vowed to crack down on crime. But Johnson racked up more endorsements from city council members, county officials, and state legislators because they agree with him on this. Congressional Democrats sent a clear signal earlier this month that they've abandoned the progressive push for reforms when dozens of them voted to overturn a new crime law in D.C., the one I was talking about, that the city's local leaders had overwhelmingly approved. So there's that. Democrat voters in San Francisco last year, of course, ousted their district attorney and a recall vote after he refused to prosecute lower-level crimes led to widespread fears about the city's safety. Baltimore voters rejected their top prosecutor in the Democrat primary last summer over the same kind of crime fears. In Atlanta, voters chose a mayor who ran on adding more police officers to the streets and jailing gang members. Perhaps the most recent evidence of this is what happened to Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who got absolutely decimated in a re-election effort, mainly because Chicago has become a hellhole to live in when it comes to crime. So while, you would think that they would be pretty quick on the uptake on all this, it's really interesting to note that in many, many places, the old thinking still prevails, and the Democrats are not changing their mind with regard to crime in some areas. It is 50 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN.
The latest in Denver, Colorado, after a school shooting at East High School yesterday, and Nashville detectives investigating a murder-suicide in Antioch that happened this morning, plus some big news with Southwest Airlines and a pilot who lost consciousness yesterday. All that and more at 4 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 56 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and this is The Drive. We'll be here with you all the way till 7 o'clock. Let's take a look at what's going on with the market right now. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 75 points. The S&P up 11. NASDAQ up 117. That's about 1%. Oil is down. And again, the barrel of oil is going for a cheaper price right now. West Texas Intermediate crude going for about $69 a barrel. And that's because there is an expectation that the economy is cooling and therefore there won't be as much demand. Gold is up $46. An ounce of gold going for $1,996, almost $2,000 an ounce. And crypto, which has been all over the place, wow, up 4% today. $1,100. Bitcoin, 278.60. These numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Learn more at Beacon CM. It is now 58 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Well, let me tell you about my my good friends over at McGill's Glock Store, world-famous Glock Store. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful place. If you've not been there, you really should just go over there and poke around, if nothing else, because I think you're going to find something that you'll find interesting if you're all into the 2AA lifestyle at all. Now, Cabana Wife and I went to the Glock Store, and we went through some training. And as I have mentioned before, I thought I was going to be the better shot, and it turned out that she was by far the better shot. They gave her the nickname Deadeye Dawn down there. She showed me, but you know what? At the end of the day, we both got some great training. We both got better, and we both had a lot of fun. So maybe this is something you want to try out with a family member. Maybe, not necessarily it doesn't have to be husband and wife. It could be a good family outing. But here's what you do. If you want to just call the Glock Store, here's the number, 615-682-6565, 615-682-6565. Or you can go to shoot270.com and click on book a shooting session. I mean, how easy is that? You're going to have a good time. And I'm telling you, the trainers down there are just the best. I mean, they really know their stuff. And no matter, how good you are, I think you'd probably benefit from some of the training you can get there at the Glock Store. McGill's world-famous Glock Store, minutes from the airport, and worth the drive from anywhere.
Four o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 75 degrees and a cloudy, sort of dreary day in Nashville today. Some possible severe weather coming tomorrow evening and into Saturday morning. We'll keep you updated with it right here on Super Talk. Complete weather and traffic in 5 minutes After this week's shooting of 2 school administrators in Denver by police say an armed student, all Denver public schools today have the day off. Here's Alex Stone.
Calling it a mental health day, the Denver Public School District is canceling classes at all campuses on Friday. The district saying everybody needs a moment to pause and process a series of challenging events, including this week's shooting and a data breach this year. In a letter to school leaders, the superintendent highlights the importance of mental health, emotional well-being, and community support.
The alleged shooter's body, 17-year-old Austin Lyle, was found later last night at a nearby park in a wooded area. Here in Tennessee, Nashville detectives are investigating an apparent murder-suicide in Antioch. It happened this morning. Authorities say it appears a 42-year-old man fatally shot his 37-year-old wife before fatally shooting himself. The shooting happened in the Pepper Tree Forest subdivision in Antioch, according to police, and we'll keep you updated as more information comes out. We're hearing a new audio from a Southwest Airlines flight in which the captain lost consciousness. Now, this happened yesterday.
It was shortly after the Southwest flight from Las Vegas to Columbus took off that the first officer reported the captain had become sick and was incapacitated. Now, radio transmissions indicate he lost consciousness, woke up about a minute later, and was moved to the back of the plane for oxygen. A pilot from another airline flying as a passenger on board went to the flight deck to help the first officer land the plane. Reporting in,
the captain became incapacitated while en route in the back of the aircraft right now with the flight attendant.
The audio from liveatc.net. The Boeing 737 landed back in Las Vegas and medics removed the captain.
Right now in Tennessee, Fox 17 reports that lawmakers deferred a bill today that would have allowed to move troubled teenagers to prison at age 17 instead of 18. It was deferred until next year. This attempt at legislation follows an audit against the DCS that showed some kids were put at risk and in, quote, unsafe situations. Some reports suggest the new legislation is partly because DCS doesn't have the bed space. Commissioner Margie Quinn earlier this month requested an influx of $26.6 million to keep children from sleeping in state offices or transitional housing. And that is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
It is 7 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7, hour number 2 of The Drive. I am your friend and radio buddy, Brian Wilson, and we're glad that you're along. It's Thursday. It's breezy, but fairly warm, and apparently we have some unsettled weather that'll be coming our way. So get ready for that. I mean, I'm ready for the lion. We've had the lion through all of March. I'm ready for some lamb-like weather as we, head into April here in a few days. It's only the 23rd. We got plenty of time. Plenty of time. On the Hill today, they had a big hearing with regard to TikTok. Now, where I stand on TikTok. I've made it very clear that I think that if your kid has got TikTok, you need to get it off their phone, off your son's or daughter's phones right away. If you're on TikTok, I think you should delete it from your phone immediately. There is all kinds of evidence that suggests this is basically a tool that the Chinese Communist Party can use to spy and gather information and intelligence on you. Now, I hear from people who get angry when I say that you need to get rid of your TikTok. And you say, well, hold on a minute. I know that there are some patriotic people on TikTok, and I've met some wonderful people over there, and it's a great way to share information. It's also a great way to share everything that's on your phone with the Chinese Communist Party. That's what it is. There is a back door in this thing. Now, today, the CEO of TikTok went to Capitol Hill to try to turn this thing around. He said, no, there's nothing wrong with TikTok. This guy's name is Zhao Zishu, and he got his butt handed to him. Honestly, get this. It's a committee hearing in which both the Democrats and the Republicans went after this guy. Neither side was buying what he was selling. It started with the chairman of the committee, Representative Kathy McMorris, saying she absolutely does not trust TikTok.
We do not trust TikTok will ever embrace American values. Values for freedom, human rights, and innovation. TikTok has repeatedly chosen the path for more control, more surveillance, and more manipulation. Your platform should be banned. Yeah,
and that's just the way the Democrats and Republicans felt about it up on the Hill today. There really was not much dissent. Representative Wahlberg made the point that there is a back door, and by pressing him, you sort of get him to admit that, yes, data from TikTok does end up on servers inside China.
Today, do ByteDance employees in Beijing have access to American data?
Congressman, we have been very open about this. We have relied on global interoperability.
You have access to American data.
Congressman, I'm answering your question if you give me just a bit of time. We rely on global interoperability, and we have employees in China. So yes, the Chinese engineers do have access to global data.
You have access to global data.
There you go. That's all you need to know. Yes, I guess technically they do have access to it. Well, as you know, in China, there's a law that says any Chinese company must first be loyal to the Chinese Communist Party and then to, their business partners. And there's a back that they must be able to have access to anything that they build, which is one of the reasons why I'm a little concerned about these cranes that the Chinese build and send all over the world that are used to load and unload these big container things off of ships. Those run off sophisticated software. I mean, are they compromised in some way? I think you have to operate under the assumption that given that the Chinese are trying to do everything they can to gain an advantage in the world, that they love the idea of having access to people's phones. They love having access to the people on your contact list. See, if it's you say, well, what am I? There's nothing I'm doing that the Chinese would care about. Well, who's on your contact list? there's bound to be somebody on your contact list that they're interested in, and by giving them access to your phone, you give them access to every phone number in your phone book, in your contact list. I'm telling you, not good. And then there's a whole thing about they believe that there's a different kind of material that is allowed on TikTok in America, and it can be used to propagandize the young people and have them have certain beliefs, whatever is in the interest of the Chinese Communist Party at any given moment. They can get out there and push that stuff right down the throats of the kids at a very young age, and they're not sophisticated enough that they've even been propagandized. There's that. There is the possibility that you could do something stupid as an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old, say something really dumb, and that later, if it came to suit them, they could pull that back up and use it against you. There's all kinds of things you should be concerned. Representative Carter of Georgia was very concerned about the fact that TikTok is used by children, and they take on these challenges, and from time to time, the challenges have led to the death of children.
How do you determine what age they are then?
We rely on age gating as our key age assurance.
Age
gating, which is when you ask the user what age they are. We have also developed some tools where we look at their public profile to go through the videos that they post to see whether...
Well, that's creepy. Tell me more about that.
It's public. So if you post a video, you choose that video to go public, that's how you get people to see your video. We look at those to see if it matches up the age that you talked about. Now, this is a real challenge for our industry because privacy versus age assurance is a really big problem.
Look, you keep talking about the industry. We're talking about TikTok here. We're talking about children dying. Do you know how many children have died because of this? Do you have any idea? Can you tell me?
Congressman, again, it's heartbreaking.
Can you tell me how many children in America have died because of challenges like this?
The majority of people who use our platform use it for positive experiences.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you, tell me the number of children, of U.S. children who have died because of these challenges.
Congressman, again, the majority of people who come on our platform get a good experience.
I'm not talking about the majority of children. I want to know a number.
Dangerous challenges are not allowed on our platform. If we find them, we will remove them. We take this very seriously.
Obviously, you found one today and you removed it. We had to bring it to your attention, and I know I'm out of time. Thank you for being here. Welcome again to the most bipartisan committee in Congress.
Well, and that is true. I mean, honestly, it wasn't just one side. It was both sides going after this guy, tooth and tong. And if you want to know about the loyalty of this guy and where it really belongs, I think this is pretty interesting. It was a question about, how he felt with regard to the Uyghurs that the Chinese are said to have to abuse and to mistreat inside China. It's a very sensitive thing with the Chinese. And when they were asked about, treatment of the Uyghurs, how do you feel about that? And, did he, him, and haw. Because his masters are, in the Chinese government. He knows that. He knows it's a delicate thing. He doesn't want to commit one way or the other. Tells you where his loyalties truly lie.
Mr. Chu, do you agree that the Chinese government has persecuted the Uyghur population?
Congresswoman, if you use our app and you open it, you will find our users who give all sorts of content.
That's not my question. My question is, do you agree that the Chinese government has persecuted the Uyghur population?
While it's deeply concerning to hear about all accounts of human rights abuse, my role here is to explain what our platform does on this.
Yield to the lady from Arizona, Ms. Lesko, for 5 minutes.
While it's deeply concerning to hear about all accounts of human rights abuse, my role here is to explain what our platform does on this.
It's a pretty easy question. Do you agree that the Chinese government has persecuted the Uyghur population?
Congresswoman, I'm here to describe TikTok and what we do as a platform. And as a platform, we allow our users to freely express their views on this issue and any other issue that matters to them.
Well, you didn't answer the question.
No, he didn't answer the question. Not at all. So, that tells you, I think, an awful lot about where the loyalties lie. From the Wall Street Journal, House Energy and Commerce Committee chairman opened the hearing saying that with 100% certainty, the Chinese government couldn't use TikTok or its Beijing-based parent company ByteDance to surveil or manipulate the content that Americans see. They wanted him to state that, and he could not. He said that the company is committed to firewalling U.S. user data from all unwanted foreign access and would keep content free from manipulation from any government. If you can't say it 100% certain, I'll take that as a no. Frank Pallone of New Jersey, the panel's top Democrat, said he wasn't convinced the TikTok security plans would work. I still believe the Beijing communist government will still control and have the ability to influence what you do. See, I mean, this is very bipartisan, something that you never see anymore up on Capitol Hill. From the Washington Times, TikTok CEO defense of China-linked app does not persuade lawmakers, and the overall feeling is that the platform should be banned. Look, I know that there are many of you out there within the sound of my voice who love this app. You think it's endlessly entertaining, and that's all good and fine. I suppose, I understand the First Amendment concerns here about telling you that you can't do, but I have a feeling that this is about to be banned nationwide. And if you have if you are out there using it, I think you need to sit down and think about whether or not the dance videos or the entertaining cat and dog videos that you see on this thing are worth the national security risk to this country. Virtually our federal government has been told that you cannot use it. You can't have it on any kind of device that's connected to the federal government. The military has been told you can't have this app on your phone, even your personal phone, if you're in the military. Many state governments, most of them actually, have come back and said you can't have TikTok on your phone if you're a state employee. You can continue to say, yeah, but I think this train is leaving the station, and I think it's about to be banned. There is some question about whether or not the Biden administration will actually want to do it in an election environment, because they know there'll be some blowback from young people. But I think it's going to have to happen. No assurances were given today that changed any minds on the Hill. And as I showed you, it's Democrats and Republicans that were both out there making these comments, meaning that in the long run here, they're going to get a bill passed in the House, in the Senate, and it's going to be sent over to the president, and it's probably going to be veto-proof, and he's going to have to sign it, it sounds like to me. So do it now, do it later, but you're probably going to have to do it. 20 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN. Let's talk about the Wellness Institute of Nashville, 615-246-5009. Call there, set up your appointment. Your first consult is $23. That's for new patients, of course. An exam, consultation, x-rays if needed. Bring in an MRI if you got one. Dr. Kevin Mitchell will go over your condition and come up with a custom healing recovery plan that will, set you on the path to feeling so much better. One of the things they got going right now is that all non-surgical spinal decompression through this month is half price. Still got a few more days to take advantage of that. Half price. I'm telling you, I've gone through 24 of these treatments. Each time I went one session for the neck, one for the back, and it has helped me dramatically, so dramatically, and I think it can help you. Get rid of back pain at half the cost. No surgery, no injections, no addictive painkillers. Dr. Kevin Mitchell is my doctor. He'll be your doctor. You might also want to introduce yourself to Dr. Ashley, who has achieved clinical excellence in holistic healing and brings a repertoire of knowledge ranging from nutrition, cold lasers, stress reduction, and, of course, non-surgical spinal decompression. The number again, 615-246-5009. Learn more by going to their website, painisbad.com.
TikTok getting banned. Well, it's being discussed on Capitol Hill. The CEO of the company was there today, and the money news. All that and more coming up 30 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
4 o'clock on Super Talk. Brian Wilson in the chair and on the air. And hoping that you're having a good afternoon. It's a little breezy, but the temperatures are mild at least. I have a feeling that this is going to be a weekend where if we once we get through the rain that's supposed to come through, I'll be doing a lot of yard work. That'll be fun. Okay, listen, there is a story out, and this is written by Katie Pavlich, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, in townhall.com. There is a new report that is published by the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government and the House Judiciary Committee. It shows extensive collusion between the Biden administration and the National School Board Association. That's right. This all has to do with the Department of Justice classifying some parents who had the temerity to go to the school board and express their opinion as domestic terrorists. Here we go. The partnership came as the group drafted a letter calling on the Department of Justice to classify parents as domestic terrorists. The letter also asked Attorney General Merrick Garland to use the Patriot Act, implemented after 9/11, to go after parents expressing criticism over school lockdowns, critical race theory, and inappropriate sexual content in the classroom. That's right. The people who had the temerity to express an opinion about this and go to the school board and tell them that they disagreed with this being done were immediately, apparently, listed as domestic terrorists. I mean, come on. Internal executive branch documents indicate that the Biden administration's use of federal law enforcement and counterterrorism resources is an example of government weaponization against American parents. If the Justice Department performed any due diligence prior to the issuance of the Attorney General's memorandum, it would have understood clearly and forcefully that federal intervention was unwarranted because that due diligence did not occur and the administration acted out of political motivations rather than for good, solid law enforcement reasons. Parents around the country had FBI assessments opened into them. Oh, I'd love to see my FBI file sometime. I'm sure they don't like me. The report, which is interim as the committee continues its investigation, gives a detailed timeline that shows how the National School Board Association worked with the DOJ, the Department of Education, and the White House to push. They were all working together. There was collusion, to push for federal law enforcement investigations into parents whose only crime, and it's not really a crime, their only thing that they did was they went to the school board to complain. The right of every American. It is so infuriating. The National School Board Association collaborated with the Biden White House to develop the language. That's right. They got with the Biden White House on September 29th of 2021, writing in a letter to President Biden urging the use of law enforcement. The school board started this, including using counterterrorism tools, including the Patriot Act against parents. They shared the draft language of the letter with the White House, which apparently raised no concerns with the reference to counterterrorism tools or the inclusion of the Patriot Act in the letter. 5 days after the NSBA letter to President Biden, Attorney General Garland issued a memorandum that inserted federal law enforcement into local school board meetings. Oh, dear Lord. Attorney General Garland established a task force, including the department's National Security Division, with responsibility for enforcing federal counterterrorism statutes. After the letter became public, the NSBA apologized, and a number of outraged school districts ditched the organization, as they should have. During testimony on Capitol Hill, Garland denied any wrongdoing by the DOJ, and that is very much in question now. It's unbelievable what this administration has tried to do to just normally law-abiding citizens who wanted to exercise, some opinion before the school board about how their own children were being taught in public schools. Where's the crime in that? That's something that ought to be treasured in America, not investigated. It is now 30 minutes past the hour, 4 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN.
It's 4:30. I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 75 degrees, a cloudy day, some possible severe weather headed here tomorrow evening. Weather and traffic coming up in just a few minutes. General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, told lawmakers today that China remains a serious adversary to the United States and to American security. Milley testified on the same day lawmakers separately questioned whether the popular app TikTok should be banned because it's owned by a Chinese parent company. Here's Ann Flaherty.
General Milley told the House Appropriations Subcommittee that the Pentagon needs some $842 billion in its next annual budget, in part because of the threat China poses to the U.S. The top uniformed military officer, Milley said the U.S. still overshadows China when it comes to military might. But he warns Beijing is, quote, probably the most serious geostrategic adversary facing the U.S.
And over the money news, Daria Albinger.
Stocks closed with some gains, but well off of their session highs. The Dow rose 75 points. It had been up more than 400. The Nasdaq added 117 for the session, and the S&P closed up 12. The CEO of TikTok told lawmakers that the social media site is not an agent for the Chinese government nor any other nation's government. The app is owned by ByteDance, which has offices in Beijing. There are millions of American users, but the site is dogged by persistent claims that it threatens national security and user privacy, and it could be used to promote pro-Beijing propaganda and misinformation. Fewer Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week. The Labor Department says they fell by 1,000 to 191,000 from the previous week. Starbucks' new CEO may be your next barista. He's going to work a half-day shift once a month in some of the stores to stay in touch with company culture.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Let's talk about Busy Bee, HVAC, and also plumbing. I mean, that's right. When you need maintenance repair on your heating, air conditioning, your plumbing systems, call the folks I trust. Busy Bee, HVAC, heating, cooling, and plumbing, your official Rude Pro partner. I mean, here's the number, 615-775-7833. They'll buzz over to your house. They will take care of whatever's going on over there. And if you get to the point where you need to replace a system, that's not always needed, but sometimes it is needed. You're not going to find a better value on HVAC and plumbing replacement systems. 12 months, same as cash, with approved credit. I suggest you become a member of the Beehive Club. I am. I love it. It's been great for me at my home. You get 3 thorough maintenance services on your systems. 1 aimed at heating, 1 aimed at cooling, 1 aimed at plumbing. No overtime charges, 24/7, 10% off all repairs. That's right. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling is your official Rude Pro partner for satisfaction guaranteed. Call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling at 615-775-7833. Online at busybeehvac.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Winkler. The financial world can be full of landmines for investors. On the one hand, investment firms and the financial community will often overcomplicate the financial planning process to confuse investors. As one guy who used to work a big investment firm once told me, if an investor thinks that they're over their head, they'll blindly trust you. And it's easier to sell to them. I'm glad I'm away from that. On the other hand, many people oversimplify investing to the detriment of investors. Just having a little knowledge can be really dangerous. The idea there is the same. It's just a different way of selling things. At Paul Winkler Inc., we like working alongside our clients with an education guidance approach. I believe that there's confidence that comes with knowing what you're doing and why. We abide by the very highest level of fiduciary care, and we use the most sophisticated financial planning tools out there. And every one of our offices is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years experience. No kids fresh out of college. If that sounds like a winning formula, set up a free 15-minute phone call to learn more. Go to paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950. You can do this.
"37 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock in the middle of hour number 2. I'm so glad you're with us for the drive. Brian Wilson in the chair and on the air, bringing you news and information you can use. We'll get you home safely, and you'll learn something along the way. And boy, I just am so glad that you have chosen to let us be a part of what you do each and every day. It means a lot to me personally. I just want you to know that. Now, every day now, this becomes, I look at all of my different sources of information. This becomes the segment that gives me so much fodder. I don't know that I can even get through it. I may need to do 2 segments of this. I'm talking, of course, it's time to enter
It's a woke world after all.
a woke world.
It's a woke world after all.
Ba, 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 ba.
It's a woke world after all. It's a woke world.
Yeah, they're not done. These little buggers, they really irritate. Here we go. You ready?
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way you kill them little buggers. Yeah, I mean, woke. Our woke world segment has become, I have an abundance of riches here every day. I got more stuff than I can squeeze into one segment. You know, one of the things that the woke world wants you to do is they want you to give up your internal combustion engine, and they want you to drive an electric vehicle, an EV. So how's that working out? Listen to this. Ford said on Thursday it expects electric vehicle business to lose roughly $3 billion with a B in 2023. That's right. They're losing money to build electrical vehicles. Estimate comes as Ford seeks to provide more transparency into the finances of its EV business compared to traditional gas-powered vehicles, as well as its fleet of commercial vehicles. I'm telling you, $3 billion in losses. That's $6 billion loss between 2021 and 2023. Wow. How do you go forward with something like that when you're literally bleeding billions of dollars? Does that tell you that perhaps you're producing a product that nobody wants or that not enough people want? See, I'm all in favor of letting the market decide these things. I believe in the free enterprise system. But, they're losing money in a huge way. They have now two divisions. One is EV, and one is internal combustion engine, ICE-powered vehicles. And then the EV division is just bleeding money right now, which makes me wonder, I mean, are they going to go through? I don't know where we are with Blue Oval City over in Memphis, but if you're losing that kind of money, why would you continue to pour more and more money into building more and more vehicles that nobody wants to buy? Or not enough people want to buy. I mean, I'm sure there's a market for it, and if you want one, get one. But what I'm telling you is they're losing money, and I don't know how much longer. I don't know many corporations that can continue to lose $3 billion a year just because they think, well, it's what we should be doing. I would rather, see a company that looks at the market and reacts to market forces. But one way or the other, that's the latest on the electric vehicle. From the Epoch Times, former trans teen who sued healthcare provider shares painful testimony. 18-year-old Chloe Cole, a self-described former trans kid, joined a panel of speakers to discuss the threat that gender ideology presents to children at Innocence Under Siege, an event hosted by conservative activists. Cole told the audience, neither my parents nor I was fully informed of most of the potential risk going through these treatments. When she was 13, Cole was prescribed puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. When she was 15, she had a double mastectomy. Now she deeply regrets the pain and suffering she endured, but even more the consequences for her future motherhood. She told the Epoch Times, I think the most painful thing about having been through this transition is losing my breasts. I may not be able to have kids, but even if I'm able to, I'll never have the experience of feeding my kids through my own body. Yeah, so there you have that. Again, we are catching in the state of Tennessee a lot of blowback from the woke about our policies in this regard. And we're not saying that you can't have gender reassignment surgery in the state of Tennessee. You just have to wait until you're an adult. And here's an example of why I think that is a good policy. Public employees, I remember Prince William County is just outside the District of Columbia, just outside the nation's capital in Virginia. Public employees in Prince William County are being asked to disclose their gender identity and sexual orientation in a taxpayer-funded survey. Cole's district supervisor has exposed to the public a survey which has been sent to all public employees by Prince William County's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office. The survey cost taxpayers around $78,000, and when they found out, when people started finding out about it, they quickly deleted the survey from the public domain, but it has now been reopened in sort of an internal system for all employees. The woman's name is Isla Vega, and after she received the email dated March 3rd, she asked permission to share it public. Permission was granted following an email being to provide a sanitized version. It's with great sadness and anger that I received the email from my employer leading me to a survey which begins by asking my gender identity, race, and sexual orientation. The questions were patently offensive and extremely invasive, but providing answers was mandatory before you could move on to the next question. Regarding the question of gender identity, the employee noted that an option, prefer not to disclose, was not offered. So while it's counter to my beliefs that anyone can have gender other than the male or female, one's biological sex, I must put those closely held beliefs aside in order to participate. She said the most offensive, outrageous, and abhorrent question asked was, it's not my employer's business, nor place to ask me the gender of my sexual partner? Why is my employer asking me details of what happens in the privacy of my home, particularly in the bedroom? What is the likelihood that I could bring a subordinate employee into my office, sit them down and ask them this question, and not end up embroiled in both a civil lawsuit and an internal investigation for sexual harassment or worse? Well, that's a good point. It's none of your dang business, is what I would say. There apparently, though, they say that only this person and one other person were distressed by the survey. If I got asked these kinds of questions, I would say, it's none of your dang business. None of your dang business, who or what is going on in my home. Again, maddening. And this stuff is just popping up everywhere. Woke diversity training helps soldiers feel included, military officials say. From the Free Beacon, rather than diminish military readiness, they insist that woke policies such as gender pronoun training help soldiers feel included. When people join our military, they want to look around and see somebody who looks like them, said Air Force Chief of Staff General C.Q. Brown. They want to be part of a team and feel like they're included. He dismissed concerns about woke policies in the military, praising the building of a cohesive team of service members, no matter their background. Look, I don't want anybody to be discriminated against because of their gender or their gender identity. But honestly, the whole pronoun thing, quite frankly, I don't understand. Here's a liberal that has actually ended up, getting blasted because she had the temerity to suggest that she did not want to be called a birthing person because she is female. A far-left media host sparked a food fight on Twitter after she enraged liberals by criticizing the birthing person's language. Progressives turned on the young Turk Anna Kasparian after she called transgender-inclusive language degrading to women. I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, a birthing person, or a person who menstruates. How do you people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this. Well, she used a word I can't say on the radio. And her tweet blew up, Twitter drawing 13 million views in less than 24 hours. And everybody said, what are you? So the Young Turks are now right-wing? And she was having none of it. But a lot of people, they really came at her hard to the point where, it was brutal. Because she had the temerity to say, I, as a woman, do not want to be called a birthing person or a person who menstruates or a person with a uterus. Gosh, I don't know. Here you go. Michigan University hosting separate graduation celebrations based on race and sexuality. A Michigan college coming under fire for hosting 5 graduation celebrations separated by race, sexuality, and gender identity, in addition to the university's larger commencement ceremony. Wow. Graduation ceremonies are celebrations for black students, Asian students, Latinx, they call it, Native American students, and LGBTQIA plus students next month. The college describes the graduation celebrations as an opportunity to come together and acknowledge accomplishments in the spirit of the tradition and culture from which they came. Okay. I would just be happy that my child got through college. That's what I'd be happy about. Arkansas has banned transgender students from using restrooms that don't align with biological sex. Now, this is Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed a bill on Tuesday, requires transgender people to use public school restrooms that align with their biological sex and not their preferred gender identity. Applies to multi-person restrooms and locker rooms at pre-kindergarten through 12th grade and charter schools, While the law is not slated to go into effect until later this summer, it will be in place before the 23-24 school year starts. She said the bill was enacted to protect children from, quote, the woke agenda. And as you might imagine, liberals are losing their minds. Stanford University, there was a diversity dean who it seemed, was encouraging a protest against a Fifth Circuit appellate judge, Kyle Duncan. And because of that, Stanford has now put that person on leave. And they are reviewing for everyone their rules regarding free speech at Stanford University. Whatever happened to the idea? What a concept. What a thing. Wasn't college a place where you're supposed to go and explore new and different ideas and to be challenged intellectually, to have a conversation, to see, what's going on in the world beyond your earlier experiences, to hear the other side, to debate the great issues of the day? No, not anymore. There's only one side that is allowed. 51 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN. Let's talk about Rhino Shield. It's that time of year where you're going to start doing a little work around the house, make the house look a little better, do some spring cleaning and some updating. Maybe you want to paint. No, don't paint. Don't paint at all, because if you paint, guess what? In just a few years, you'll have to paint again, because you know what paint does? It cracks, it chips, it peels. But if you called the folks at Rhino Shield, you wouldn't have to think about painting your house for 25 years. See, Rhino Shield is not paint. It's 10 times thicker than paint. It's infused with special 3M ingredients, billions of microspheres that allow the coating to expand and contract, and that's why they offer a 25-year warranty against cracking, chipping, and peeling. Now, listen, Clay Morris and the folks at Rhino Shield of Nashville have a reputation for doing quality work. Listen to what Amanda said. My home turned out beautifully. They showed up on time. The crew was professional and courteous. I had some custom painting that needed to be done, and they did an amazing job. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, how about 25 years? You don't have to think about a thing. Why don't you give Clay Morris a call at 615-474-1729. And, of course, you can learn more by going to rhinoshieldnashville.com. Let's talk about Everseal. What is it? Well, it's a technology that's been around for a long time, used in industrial applications. And the folks over at Everseal figured out how to use it around your home to seal up your exterior wood or concrete at a home at a price that home and business owners can actually afford. Now, the process works like this. They start by doing a deep cleaning all the way down to make your wood or concrete look as good as it possibly can. And then they use their patented seal, which absorbs all the way through the concrete and the wood to become a permanent part of your wood and concrete and will prevent any further deterioration for the next, are you ready for this? Pay attention, 30 to 50 years. It's got a 25-year manufacturer warranty. Think about how much time you spent and how much money you spend sealing up your wood or your concrete around your home. Think about it over 10 years. How much would it cost you over 20 years? How much would it cost you over 30 or 50? I mean, honestly, why not do it one time and then just be done with it? Listen, if this sounds like something that you'd be interested in, why don't you reach out to my friend Steve Nelson and the team over at Everseal? Here are the numbers. 1-844-EVER-USA. Again, 1-844-EVER-USA. Or you can go to their website to learn more, ever-seal.com.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 75 degrees and cloudy, an overcast day in Nashville. Expecting some severe thunderstorms with harsh wind tomorrow afternoon into the evening, possibly leaking over into Saturday morning. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Weather and traffic in 5 minutes. There are 14 states now, including Tennessee, that have ceased nearly all abortions, either because of outright bans or because of legal confusion. And Flaherty has more from the nation's capital.
State laws are changing by the day on abortion rights. The latest is Wyoming, where a judge has blocked a sweeping ban on abortion that lasted only 4 days. The judge ruled that the new law can be put on hold while lawsuits continue in court. Meanwhile, Utah is on track to become the next state to make it harder to get an abortion. On May 3rd, a new law will take effect that will require all abortions take place in hospitals.
And Governor Lee gave his goals for the Nashville area to the city's Chamber of Commerce today. The chamber said 3 things are most important to them: livability, creating jobs, and developing workforce. They noted that if everyone in the city's region was employed, there'd still be 30,000 jobs that needed filled. Governor Lee's administration is proposing $1 billion to the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, plus increasing pay incentives for teaching positions. The governor's whole plan was to create easier pathways for skilled workers to get employment. And some firsthand history from a Holocaust survivor reaches a young new audience on TikTok. Dave Packer.
85-year-old Holocaust survivor Tova Friedman is getting millions of views on TikTok.
Here they are, listening.
As she recalls life in 1944 and 1945, a 6-year-old at the Auschwitz death camp, with the help of her 17-year-old grandson, Aaron Goodman, recording videos in her Morristown, New Jersey home.
It was a fabulous media for the Holocaust, for young people who don't want to read the books, who don't like the classes in school.
Her grandson says their most viewed videos, ones that show the still visible tattooed identification number on her arm.
And a decision in the case of the Michigan high school shooting in 2021 that killed 4 students. Derek Dennis.
The parents of Ethan Crumbley, the alleged Michigan high school shooter, will stand trial over claims they should also be held criminally liable for the deadly Oxford High School rampage. A 3-judge panel acknowledging parents typically are not responsible for a child's crime, but said James and Jennifer Crumbley were aware their son was contemplating a shooting, including a drawing Ethan made depicting someone being shot. 4 students were killed in the November 2021 rampage.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's 7 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. I'm Brian Wilson, and this is The Drive for Thursday, March 23rd. Man, we're whipping through the week. One more day, and we'll call it a weekend. How do you feel about that? Man, we got a lot of stuff that we need to talk about, to tell you about all the ways, number one, you can bring in The Drive. You can listen to it on FM radio, which, by the way, is in stereo, because if you don't know, it is in stereo. I can prove it to you if you'd like. No, I'm gonna do it because now I'm over on the left side. Now I'm over on the right side. I'm on the left side. Now I'm in the middle. See, it's stereo.
Yes, indeed.
People in their cars are going, "Whoa, where is that voice coming from?"
Wilson's all over the car.
He's all over the place. They say that anyway. No, I mean, the FM radio, it's a quaint old technology. It's I think the best way really to listen to our show. We have our WTN app. We have SuperTalk TV live. Mm-hmm. You can watch it on our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch accounts, and that's all good fun. You can find a show prep at yourfarb.com. Yourfarb, I don't know what's going on with Yourfarb. I'm having a little bit of I may have accidentally today.
Uh-oh.
I'm not sure, but I think I may have accidentally today added a menu segment to my website.
Like a restaurant?
I like a restaurant menu. That's right. I don't know if I did or not. I mean, I was trying to fix one problem, and I think I may have caused another one. But you can find the show prep for sure at yourfarb.com and find the link to Yourfarb at 99.7.
I don't see any menus, so I guess
okay, well, good. Well, maybe it's working okay. Can you see the show prep?
Yes, I can.
Now, some people say, I have a hard time finding a show prep. Well, it's under something called a blog. I really should not call it a blog. I should call it show prep.
Yeah, just go to yourfarb.com and then scroll down a little bit, and you'll see
and you'll find it. That's right. Okay, so that's good.
Just right under your beautiful face there.
Yeah, such as it is. Super text line always open at 615-737-9986. Now, a couple of things we need to talk about. Number one, next Tuesday, very excited that Nate Bargatze, world-famous comedian Nate Bargatze, who's right here from our Nashville area, lives in the Nashville area, grew up in Old Hickory. A lot of his comedy is about things that happen around this area.
Yeah.
It really is true. I mean, the dog bakery is my favorite, I think. But I mean, honestly, he's hilarious, and we love him, and he's going to be with us in studio. I'm going to be in studio.
Live.
Yes, I know. I'm going to be in studio.
Wow.
Well, I mean, the only reason
you remember how to get down here?
Yeah, I know how. If I was there this morning, I was.
Okay.
I know how to get there. But I'll be in studio, and Nate will be in studio, and that'll be next Tuesday. And that's going to be great because he's got that big thing going on at Bridgestone Arena.
That's right.
Where it's going to be quite the show. And we're very excited. Apparently, our nagging has paid off because I'm told I've been talking to his people. He's got people.
He's gotten so big now. He has to have people.
He's got to have people now. And his people called me and said, Nate said there were a couple of shows that he definitely wanted to do, and one of them was yours. I said, well, okay.
Wow. All right.
So there. So, Nate, man, he's hilarious. And if you don't know him, go see his latest special on Amazon Prime if you have that. It's a riot. It's very good. And the thing I love about Nate Bargatze is he's very funny. His humor really, I don't know, makes me, I just laugh out loud. I mean, I just guffaw is what I do. But the other thing is he works completely clean. There's not a thing in his show that you couldn't take a family member to see, no matter the age.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah. So, again, that will be on Tuesday. Then a Wednesday, we'll have our good friend Pete Hegseth will be back. He wasn't with us this last Wednesday because he was on a plane. He was. And they sort of frown upon it when you make phone calls from planes.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't work out well.
And then the 30th of March, we've got the station event in Murfreesboro. Still tickets available. And that's going to be a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be taking, here's what you need to understand is the gathering of the talent will take place in the 6 o'clock hour. So, that will happen during the 6 o'clock hour of the drive. But I will be there at 3 o'clock. I don't want to be sitting there at the Parthenon Grill by myself. I want you to come on by.
Pre-gaming, right?
Yeah, I'll be the pregame. That's right. And I may be just out in the parking lot, just standing out there, sitting on the tailgate of my pickup truck. This actually may be true. I may actually be there. I could do that.
Yeah.
I have the technology. I'm not afraid to do that. But that'll be on the 30th, and I hope that you'll come by. If you've ever been to one of these station events, they're a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time. Hanging with everybody. And last time we were in Murfreesboro, we packed it out. I mean, to tell you, it was standing room only. I think there are a few tickets left, so get on it. We'd love to see you there. Please come and spend some time with us. So that's all of that. That's a lot of stuff to go through, actually. And I still have time. I still have time to talk about some of the breaking news of the day.
Good.
All right. Thank you, Chris, for playing along. And Mac, it's good to see you too.
Hello, I'm sorry. I was being distracted by someone in here. I'm just trying to come back.
Yeah, are you excited about Nate Bargatze coming?
Yes, let's go.
Yes,
I hope he's not. I hope he's wide awake.
Yeah, well,
come on.
I'm glad you were the one who had to bring that up. I wasn't going to bring it up. But when we were on the morning show, Nate came on the show, and he was supposed to be on, 7:30, something like that. Maybe even 8:30.
I think it was actually in the 8 o'clock hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It wasn't even 6.
No.
Yeah. And when the time came, he wasn't there. And then his dad, we said, well, I don't know what happened. We were supposed to talk to Nate Bargatze, but it's very rare when people don't call in. And again, I understand showbiz people.
Yeah.
They actually operate very late. I have friends in showbiz, and you don't call them early in the morning. Right. So apparently he had been up late the night before and had overslept and was not awake when the time came. And his dad heard us talking about it, and his dad called him and woke him up and made him go to the microphone. And he came out of an absolute dead sleep.
It was not pretty.
It was not pretty. It was actually, it was funny in some ways, but he literally could not put a sentence together. He was really having a tough time. And then when I saw the special the other day on Amazon Prime, he talks about how he never gets up before 10 o'clock, ever. And, and that's not unusual for people who are in the entertainment business.
Probably never goes to bed before 1 a.m.
Yeah, when you're doing a show, you're wired, man. You can't just go and lay down and go to sleep.
Yeah.
It takes you a while to wind down, and they live a different kind of lifestyle than the rest of us. And so I feel bad that that we've sort of given a hard time about that all these years, because it was pretty bad.
I'm sure he's going to bring his A game. He remembers. I guarantee he remembers.
Oh, I know he remembers, and I'm sure every time we talk about it giets back to him. So Tuesday, so given the fact that it's going to be late in the afternoon, I think he'll be awake.
I think so.
Yes. We're looking forward to it. No, we really are. And we love him. We adore him. And we're really looking forward to that. Okay. So, and again, truly, if you haven't seen his special, you just got to go watch it. And I think the thing at Bridgestone is sold out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm going.
Are you?
Wow. Friends of mine got me a ticket, so I'm going to go.
Front row, huh?
No, I think they're good tickets, but I don't think they're front row. All right, in the news, have we got time for this? Yeah, I think we better. DA Alvin Bragg did not bring testimony before the grand jury in New York City on Donald Trump. And it didn't happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. They heard another case. The next time that this Trump matter will be back before this grand jury is going to be, I don't know, probably, what would you say? It's probably going to be next Monday. What case am I talking about? Well, it's the
Stormy Horseface Daniels extortion plot.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that Trump, he's very, I think he was looking forward to having, the perp walk. and the handcuffs, and I think he totally was in favor of it. And here's the thing that I'm coming to understand, and this is true, this is really true, that this has actually helped Trump, I think. I mean, he's not like any other politician in that, most people, this being, perp walked and put in handcuffs and all that kind of stuff would actually be harmful to a politician's reputation. But with Trump, he's the Teflon Don. He really is. And I've actually come to understand he's really like Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll just call him Obi-Don Kenobi.
Oh, good grief.
No, here we go.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
I mean, I think that's the way it works with this guy. It just bounces off of him and makes him stronger. And as they say,
this is the way.
This is the way.
I knew it.
You knew that was coming. But I mean, honestly, I'm telling you, there's a story here that says that he was charged up to do it. And that the Secret Service didn't really want him to do it that way, and there's no real requirement that he showed up. But he wanted to go. He wanted the whole full, dog and pony show down there. But now Alvin Bragg is saying, that, well, Trump has raised false expectations. I don't think that's true at all. I think what's going on here is that Alvin Bragg, the DA, is backpedaling because he realizes two things. Number one, his case has been blown to smithereens. There is no way this case is ever going to stand up in a court of law. I'm not even sure his case can get an indictment. The old saying is that a DA can get an indictment on a ham sandwich. I don't know where that came from, but I mean, legal people say that all the time. Yeah, DA, he can indict a ham sandwich. But I mean, I don't think they're going to get an indictment because I think this guy, Costello, came in there and blew up the case the other day and laid out a lot of stuff about the Bragg's best witness, which is Michael Cohen, and just destroyed him with documents and things that Cohen had said in the past that meant that the things he was saying now were either a lie or he had lied before. I mean, really blew it up. So I don't know that he's going to get an indictment. I think that when you hear Bragg say, well, Trump was raising false expectations that he was going to be arrested, I think that's Alvin Bragg trying to change the narrative because I don't think he's going to be able to bring the case. If he does bring the case, I'm pretty sure this is going to get laughed out of court. I can't possibly survive. There's just not enough of a case there to be made. First of all, the legal underpinnings of his case are bizarre, strange, and never tried before in a court of law. So I don't know that he's got it. And I think now he's trying to find some way out of it. And his way of getting out of it is to say, well, we weren't absolutely sure that we were going to indict Trump. Trump was just sort of jumping the gun there about this arrest stuff. Not true. Because Bragg had actually reached out to law enforcement to have meetings with them to talk about how, Trump was going to be arrested. So whatever happens, the next possible time that a grand jury could meet on this will be Monday. They're taking other cases right now. Trump would love to go down there and do the dog and pony show, and his numbers are up. That's the thing. The numbers are up, and he's doing a lot better than he was doing just a couple of weeks ago. DeSantis' numbers are down. Trump's numbers are up. Biden's numbers are down in a big way. So, this has been a good week for Donald Trump, not such a good week for Joe Biden, not such a good week for Ron DeSantis. And I think this thing is a lot of a whole lot of nothing. But we'll see. We'll watch and see what happens next week. We'll bring you the very latest. 22 minutes now, past the hour of 5 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7. Let me tell you about Sylvan Health, a personalized nutrition service covered by insurance. That's right, insurance. You see, nutrition can improve the way you feel, help you lose weight, help you manage health conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. All of these are directly related to the foods we eat, and this is where Sylvan Health comes in. Sylvan connects you with a registered dietitian who can help you put together a nutrition plan without forcing you to cut off all the foods that you love. Your dietitian will provide tools such as meal plans, shopping lists, restaurant guides. A few small tweaks to your diet can go a very long way. Appointments are done via video calls, even over the phone, so there's no need to travel in for face-to-face meetings. And here's the best part. The service is covered by insurance. That's right. 90% of patients have zero out-of-pocket costs. So schedule your appointments today, 833-279-5826, or visit sylvanhealth.com to take that first step toward looking and feeling better, utilizing the power of good nutrition.
Body camera video released in a deadly police shooting that happened in Virginia. Semi-truck turned over today in Murfreesboro. What content spilled out of it, and some new numbers on child autism here in the United States. All that and more coming up 30 minutes after the hour of 5 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I want to go to this. I don't know how we can make this work, because it's the same day we're doing Nate Bargatze. Maybe we'll just take a remote over there and have Nate Bargatze join us there.
Okay.
By there, I mean over at the East Nashville Brew Works, because they are having a special event. Have you heard this? They're teaming up with Shenanigoats Yoga.
What?
Apparently, some people do yoga with goats.
Goat yoga. Yeah, I've heard
Goat
about
yoga,
this.
and it's called. There's a company called Shenanigoats Yoga, and they're going to host over there at the East Nashville Brew Works goat cuddling. I'm not making this up. And that's irritating. Goat cuddling at their brewery on Trinity Lane from 4 to 7, the same hours that we're on the air.
Wow.
We got to figure out how to do a live remote from there somehow. Guests will have the opportunity to cuddle a furry friend while sipping on a beer and snacking on pizza. The goats will be in a fenced-in area for people to visit and show some love. Goats have the greatest sound. I mean, honestly, how can you not love a goat?
Unless you get one of those screaming goats, and then that's just concerning.
Yeah, or the fainting goats. That's what I want. You know about fainting goats?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, you make a loud noise and they just fall over. They're not
stiff
hurt.
and
They
drop
just,
over.
Yeah, it's a fun event for all ages, so bring the fam and come out for a great night of beer, pizza, and goats, the brewery said.
Just do not eat the milk duds. Those are not milk duds. I repeat, those are not milk duds.
Yeah, that's right. They're not. I mean, I want to do this because, my long-standing request has been that I want a goat. I want a pet goat.
Well, you got a goat.
I have a metallic goat that's in the background here.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, it's metallic and it is anatomically correct.
That's true.
Yeah, it is. It's just, you don't want to look too closely. And it's in the background there. It's Larry Goatland.
Larry.
But, I mean, what's better? I mean, first of all, pizza. We all love pizza.
Yep.
Who doesn't love pizza? Beer. Who doesn't love beer?
Yeah.
And then who doesn't love goats?
Yeah.
I don't know the goats personally, so I'm not going to pass judgment. But
talking about
on the fence,
goats like Tom Brady and Michael Phelps. I like those kind of goats.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, I get what you. I see what you just did there. No, I mean they're adorable. I mean, I want a goat, and this sounds like. I mean, this sounds like the best of all possible worlds.
I could just see the mayhem breaking out though, with the goats trying to take pizza out of people's hands and drink people's beers when they're not looking.
Yeah, no. The goats will not be allowed to imbibe.
Yeah, they are called shenanigoats after all.
Well, after all, you know what kind of shenanigans shenanigoats might get involved with. I don't understand the whole idea of goat yoga, which apparently the whole thing about goat yoga is the goats climb up on top of you while you're doing different poses.
Yeah, what benefit does that do?
I don't understand that at all.
Me either.
But yeah, baby goats and beer. Goat cuddling.
Yeah, I'm in. I think I'd like to do that too. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work though.
We're going to have to figure this out. Yeah. We may have to have a special correspondent who will go over and engage in said goats and report to us back live because we're going to be in studio. I can't go over there.
Yeah,
but we got to find a special correspondent who will go over there and bring us a live report.
Yeah. We got to have video since we're doing the TV thing, too.
That's right. That's right. Well, we got to figure this out. Yeah. We'll put our best people on it. It is now 5:30 on SuperTalk 99.7.
.30, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 74 degrees right now in Nashville. Expecting some severe thunderstorms, harsh wind tomorrow afternoon into evening. Even they're leaking over into Saturday morning. Weather and traffic coming up in just a few minutes. Body camera video released in a deadly police shooting in Virginia. Derek Dennis.
Shots fired. The police body cam footage shows the deadly encounter. Fairfax County police officers chasing 37-year-old Timothy Johnson after store surveillance video allegedly shows him stealing sunglasses from the Tysons Corner Mall. The chase ending outside in some nearby woods. Johnson shot in the chest and dying.
This was the execution by Fairfax County Police.
Family attorney Carl Cruz viewed the video with Johnson's family, including his mother, Melissa, who says deadly force was not justified.
It just does not make any sense at all.
One officer involved placed on restricted duty, another given a notice of termination.
Here in Tennessee, Channel 4 says that a semi-truck filled with Pillsbury products overturned in Murfreesboro today. The truck allegedly overcorrected during a curve. It caused the truck to fall into a ditch, and that truck came to a halt right before a railroad crossing. The cleanup process still underway, taking a long time. The driver's condition still unknown. And a man fishing in New York City made what might be called the deadliest catch. Aaron Katursky.
A man fishing in Queens caught AR-15 style rifles. The fisherman pulled a bag from Jamaica Bay that contained 3 rifles. He brought them to the police, who then sent NYPD divers into the water to see what else was there. The divers recovered 14 handguns from the same shallow spot. So far, police do not believe the guns are related. Rather, it appears the fishermen happened upon a dumping ground, where the police are now searching for additional weapons.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Winkler. The financial world can be full of landmines for investors. On the one hand, investment firms and the financial community will often overcomplicate the financial planning process to confuse investors. As one guy who used to work a big investment firm once told me, if an investor thinks that they're over their head, they'll blindly trust you. And it's easier to sell to them. I'm glad I'm away from that. On the other hand, many people oversimplify investing to the detriment of investors. Just having a little knowledge can be really dangerous. The idea there is the same. It's just a different way of selling things. At Paul Winkler Inc., we like working alongside our clients with an education guidance approach. I believe that there's confidence that comes with knowing what you're doing and why. We abide by the very highest level of fiduciary care, and we use the most sophisticated financial planning tools out there. And every one of our offices is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years experience. No kids fresh out of college. If that sounds like a winning formula, set up a free 15-minute phone call to learn more. Go to paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950. You can do this.
37 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy. Hey, we got to keep an eye on Kirsten Sinema. I find her to be one of the more interesting people. Manchin and Sinema are interesting characters in that, I guess Manchin is still a Democrat, although Sinema left the Democrat Party to become an independent. She still caucuses with Democrats, which means that's just for assigning committees and committees assignment. That's all that really means. Generally, when you say caucusing, it means you meet with them regularly. And there is a thing that happens in Washington known as a caucus luncheon. Now, this was a very important thing that would happen every week in the United States Senate. If you're a Capitol Hill correspondent, as I was for a lot of years, you knew that you had to hang out in the hallway while the Democrats were meeting in one room to have their caucus luncheon, and the Republicans were around the corner, and they were having their caucus over in the Mansfield room, and you would hang out around the elevators, because they either had to go past you to go to the Senate floor, or they had to go past you to get on an elevator and go somewhere else. So when they would come out, it was one time where you got everybody in one place at one time, and you could ask questions if there's somebody that you've been trying to track down. And it was a really, as a reporter, a must-attend thing every week. Well, now it turns out Sinema does not go to lunch with the Democrats. She may be caucusing as a Democrat. She's listed as an independent. I mean, what is it? Augustus King, he's an independent. I think Bernie Sanders is still technically an independent, but they go to the luncheon. Kirsten Sinema, not so much. So here's a story. You're going to love this. Talking about how she was at a thing, and she talked about how she had not gotten along with Ron Klain, who was Biden's chief of staff over at the White House. And Klain had called to ensure that Sinema, who was often a tiebreaker, would vote with the Democrats and help confirm a guy named Rupali Desai to a federal court spot. Sinema's flippant response to the story sent laughter through the room. I mean, it was flippant because she basically said that she gave him the middle finger. Flippant in that she flipped him off. And she did it again in the middle of telling this story. I did not call Ron back. And, by the way, a lot of Democrats didn't like Ron Klain. But that's not where it ended. She mocked Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer in offhanded remarks and poked fun at Senator Joe Manchin for naming Biden's inflation bill the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, she actually, one understands that she and Manchin are friends and get along. But she called the Democrat Party luncheons, the aforementioned luncheons that I was telling you about, a complete waste of time. She does not go. And she described it as, and I'm not making this up, old dudes eating Jell-O, where everyone is talking about how great they are. I don't really need to be there for that. That's an hour and a half twice a week that I can get back. She also claimed that the Jell-O eating habits of her former Democrat colleagues varied according to region. The Northerners and the Westerners put Cool Whip on their Jell-O. I don't know, Chris, where are you on the appropriate topping for Jell-O?
I didn't know Jell-O needed a topping.
Well, I don't think it does either. Jell-O is, I think, just great in its own.
It stands alone.
My favorite flavor is red.
Whichever that is.
Yeah, if it's red, I eat it. But if it's, I'm never going to eat a green Jell-O.
See, I kind of like the lime. I guess it's lime.
Orange. Some people like orange.
No, see, I don't like the orange though.
I think there's cherry and there's strawberry. And honestly, I think if you put a bowl of cherry right next to a bowl of strawberry, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
But she says that the Northerners and the Westerners put Cool Whip on their Jell-O, and the Southerners put cottage cheese. Now, I've never eaten cottage cheese.
Me either, and I don't
with my
want
Jell-O.
to. I've never eaten cottage cheese, period. but I definitely would not eat it with my Jell-O. Cool
But
Whip, yeah, maybe I could put a dollop of that on there.
We can all agree that, that really honestly, even though she apparently really turns her nose up at the idea of Jell-O, it's awesome.
Watch it glimmer, see it shimmer, cool and fruity. Jell-O brand gelatin. All desserts, you'll love the one that tastes so light and makes such fun. Make Jell-O gelatin and make some fun.
Now, you may think that I'm done with this, but I'm not.
Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family.
Oh, that's even
The big
older.
red letters stand for the
That's
Jell-O
like from the
family.
40s, I think.
Jell-O, yum, yum, yum. Jell-O pudding, yum, yum, yum. Jell-O, Fiocca pudding,
Now, you might think I'm done with this, but
After the kids are off to school, I often take a couple of minutes to make them light Jell-O gelatin snacks for when they get home. I make the snacks in paper cups, and the kids just love them. And I like them because they don't spoil our appetites. Just prepare any flavor of Jell-O gelatin. That's the brand I prefer. Pour it into paper cups.
Yeah.
Add fruit, or whatever you happen to have on hand.
Green
Then
beans.
place the cups in the refrigerator. So after school, the kids will have a nice snack waiting for them.
For Jenny Schrang's Jell-O snack idea, see April Women's Magazines. To make a light snack that's fun to eat, start with Jell-O.
do they still have April women's magazines?
Not that I'm aware, but that's not my choice of reading, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they do.
Well, anyway, I love her observation about Jell-O and Cool Whip and old men eating Jell-O and talking about how great they are. A lot of people who attend that conference, some of the old guys that she was in reference to, were pulled aside and asked, "Well, what do you think about Kyrsten Sinema's comment regarding Jell-O?" And Chuck Schumer was not actually going to engage on it. He said, she's an effective legislator, before heading into a Senate elevator and ignoring further questions from reporters about Jell-O. I love that. I mean, honestly, they need her from time to time. And she does sometimes vote for folks, on the Democrat side and vote with the Democrats. Sometimes she votes with the Republican. She's an independent, and that's what you do. Many people are wondering, and this is the real thing we need to talk about here. Will Kyrsten Sinema switch over and become a Republican? I mean, they are doing everything they can to convince her. Think about that, how it would change instantly the balance of the Senate. That would be interesting. Would she then do that? Become a Republican, vote with Republicans, caucus with Republicans. The Republicans are courting her, and I think, it'd be very interesting to see how she goes. And I also wonder if she doesn't have something in mind for 2024. I mean, can you imagine how complicated the presidential election would get if you had a Manchin Sinema ticket? I will say this. She's probably one of the most interesting people on the political front today. She is openly gay. She makes no bones about it. She says she is bisexual. She is an independent. Sometimes she votes Democrat. Sometimes she votes Republican. Universally, what you hear from people is the two things, and this is, everybody says the same thing about her. She's well liked. She is very well liked on both sides of the aisle, and she's thought to be one of the more effective members of Congress. For somebody, as I think some have observed, it's very rare for somebody who comes in as a new senator, a freshman senator, and to figure it out very quickly. She did, and is said to be a very effective legislator. So I don't know, but could you imagine Sinema and Manchin running as independents? How that might change the whole nature of the 2024 race. I don't know that that's going to happen, but something's up with those two. We'll see how that plays out. In the meantime, I think we all need to talk about our favorite kind of Jell-O, because I think I'm going to have some Jell-O tonight. And sadly, the thing about Jell-O is you can't just make it and eat it.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless you buy those little prepackaged cups.
Oh, now I hadn't thought about that.
Snack
I could do
packs.
that. I could go get a snack pack.
That's right.
After I get off the air, and I would have pre-made Jell-O.
Wouldn't be cold,
if you get it out of the cooler, it would be cold.
They have some in the cooler?
I think they got some in the cooler.
All right.
I don't know. I think so. I bet I could find some.
You're going to find out, aren't you?
Even here in Watertown, I think I could find some Jell-O.
You're going to be eating Jell-O
now
later,
it's
aren't
all
you?
I could think about.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And when I was in school, did you go through the plate lunch and you saw the Jell-O there?
I don't really remember the Jell-O. I'm sure we had it, but I can't recall it off the top of my head.
Well, you could get salad, or you could get Jell-O.
I definitely remember the salad.
And for me, there was only one choice because I don't really like salad.
I mean, come on.
If you had a choice of salad or Jell-O, you're going to go with the Jell-O, even if it's green.
Of course. Yeah. It's better than the green salad.
Yeah, that's right. I had green salad. I had some green Jell-O. That's what you could tell. Yeah, I had
Close
green
enough.
salad. Yeah, it was in the salad area, right next to the salad. I assumed it's
counts.
considered a salad.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, it's 49 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk. Grace Point Healthcare delivers medicine affordably with menu-style transparent pricing. You'll know how much it will cost before the care is delivered. Smart Care plans, just $69 a month. You get unlimited office visits, free basic labs for the entire year. They have some sort of premium Smart Care plans that include a couple of home visits if that's something you'd like to explore. And because they treat the whole family, newborns, they offer family plans as well. In conjunction with a high-deductible insurance plan, this will save you and your family hundreds of dollars. At Grace Point, they take their time with each patient. They see you the same or next day. There are no long wait times or crowded wait rooms. We treat naturally whenever possible. It is a military vet-owned practice. Just some of the reasons why it's been voted the best primary care provider by Toast of Music City year after year after year. Grace Point wants you to know they believe strongly in freedom of choice when it comes to vaccines for you and your children. So Grace Point Healthcare on Main Street in Franklin, 599-6868. It's 599-6868 to schedule a visit.
Abortion now illegal in practically 14 states, completely banned, and a missing teen in Tennessee has been found safe. Plus, some new numbers on child autism in the United States. All that and more coming up 6 o'clock right here, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 55 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Just a couple of minutes left here. This story caught my passing attention. NPR's chief executive announced the network would lay off roughly 10% of its current workforce and eliminate most vacant positions. CEO John Lansing, according to NPR.org, this is their own reporting on what's happening, said it's just tough times for them. We are eliminating filled positions. We're talking about our colleagues, people whose skills, spirit, and talent help make NPR what it is today. This will be a major loss. This goes on to talk about how it's in some areas it is a rather grim time for some media companies, like the Washington Post is struggling. One hears, I don't know, NPR losing 10% of its current workforce. You know what I call that, Chris?
What's that?
A good start. It is 57 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Well, have you noticed how unreliable things have become these days? Like when someone tells you, hey, it'll be ready at 4 o'clock, and then you get there and it's not. People are really tired of that kind of stuff. And if you've had it with unreliable vehicle repair shops, come to Eurofix. Eurofix turns unreliable into reliable, and Eurofix has your vehicle ready when it's really ready, so you don't have to stand around and wait, tap your toe, and be impatient. Eurofix repairs all European cars with quality that beats the dealer and without dealer pricing. That's because dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually all of a dealership's overhead, and that's a lot of money. Why would you want to pay for all that? At Eurofix, reliable also means a 3-year nationwide warranty plus a free loaner car with every repair appointment. Make sure you call ahead, as loaner cars are very popular. If you're tired of unreliable repair shops, come to where it's reliable. Eurofix, family-owned for 24 years. Call 844-EUROFIX or visit myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
6 o'clock, Mac Maury with your top stories. Right now, 75 degrees in Nashville. Weather forecast and traffic report coming up just a few minutes. 14 states currently, including Tennessee, have ceased nearly all abortions, either because of outright bans or because of legal confusion. And Flaherty has more from Washington.
State laws are changing by the day on abortion rights. The latest is Wyoming, where a judge has blocked a sweeping ban on abortion that lasted only 4 days. The judge ruled that the new law can be put on hold while lawsuits continue in court. Meanwhile, Utah is on track to become the next state to make it harder to get an abortion. On May 3rd, a new law will take effect that will require all abortions take place in hospitals.
Here in Tennessee, a law was just implemented that now saves the life of a mother in certain situations. Here in Tennessee, the missing 14-year-old out of Benton County, Aaliyah Whitehead, was found safe this morning. She'd been missing since March 13th. It was 2 days ago that a video was released of the mother pleading for her daughter to return. A TBI spokesperson said around 2,000 acres were traveled in an effort to find Whitehead. And some new numbers on child autism in the U.S. Derek Dennis.
A growing number of children are being diagnosed with autism in the U.S., but that doesn't mean autism itself is on the rise. Instead, CDC researchers say it's likely doctors, parents, and communities are getting better at diagnosing children, especially among Black, Hispanic, and Asian Americans. All races saw more cases, but researchers say in 2020, for the first time, the percentage of Black, Hispanic, and Asian children diagnosed with autism exceeded that of white children. The CDC says early diagnosis is critical to help kids with autism get the resources they need to reach their full potential.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's 6 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair. Listen, you can listen to us on the air. You can listen to us on our app. You can watch us on SuperTalk TV, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and ever-popular Twitch. And we love that you can check out all the show prep. I mean, if you hear something and you want to find out more about it, you can see the information that I use to prep for this show at yourfarb.com and find the link to Your Farb at 997WTN.com. Always, you can reach out to us on the Super Text line, which is 615-737-9986. So all of those different ways that you can reach out and touch us. Well, I didn't mean, maybe that's not the right word. You can reach out and engage us.
Yeah, please do not touch the talent.
Yeah, don't touch the talent. He doesn't like that. Well, what do we got going on? Well, I think there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one is this, where did I find it here? Yeah, here we go. Biden's approval ratings are just dropping like a stone. Now, I mean, there's a couple of things going on right there. I should pull this up real quick and take a look at it. Give me a moment while I'm winging it here. I'm going to go to realclearpolitics.com and give you a readout on, there it is, exactly where Biden is with the poll numbers right now, because the poll numbers for him are not very good. I mean, honestly, you have to look at things like, what's his approval rating? President Biden job approval rating, upside down by 13 points in one poll. Here's the Economist YouGov, upside down by 6. Direction of country, which is a very similar thing, 28% say we're on the right track. 62% believe we're on the wrong track. Job approval Monmouth, President Biden upside down by 9 points. Direction of country Monmouth, wrong track, leads by 49 points. It's right direction 23, wrong track 72. Direction of country Rasmussen, 58% say we're on the wrong track. So when you look at all these things, it's not good. Here is the one that we want to focus on now. Did it come in today? Let's see if I've got it. Yeah, here's a couple of new ones. The AP Nork Center Public Affairs Research Survey found that Biden is sitting at only 38% approval, marking a fall from recent months. His last month, he was at 45. Then he went to 41. It was up from 41 in January. But this number, 38%, is just within, a hair of his lowest numbers ever since taking over the office of the presidency. His lowest number was 36 last July when the price of gasoline was going through the roof. So he'd been up as high as 45%. Now he's back down to 38%. And this is not good for the president of the United States as he begins to launch a presidential reelection effort here, one would assume, in the not-too-distant future. I honestly think that there are some things going on where they're doing everything they can to talk him out without actually pulling him aside and saying, Joe, don't do it. They're trying to get him to come to the conclusion that he should not run for re-election. If he runs for re-election, it's him, it's Kamala, and that's it. There'll be maybe somebody else will challenge him, but I don't think in a big way he'll be challenged. Not within his own party. Who knows, if there's going to be an independent who enters the race. So there's that. That it's hard to know how that might all play out. But it seems to me that with the numbers going down and now all of a sudden Biden Incorporated is getting a lot more interesting. There's a lot of there and the House Republicans are getting very, very close to, quite frankly, unraveling that thing. So much focus has been on Trump, and these, things, charges that he might be indicted. That has eaten up so much of the oxygen in the media world that nobody's paying much attention to what's going on with the House Republicans. But it's really coming right along. They've got some stuff, and they're not far from putting this thing together since they started getting these suspicious activity reports. Things are really happening there. So I don't know if he's going to run or not, but if I'm the president of the United States and I see my approval rating at 38%, and I see these stories out there, and I know the truth, that, indeed, there's some there to some of this stuff, I got to wonder if perhaps he just makes the decision that he's not going to run. That takes care of the Biden problem. That takes care of the Kamala. I mean, she can run as a nominee, but I don't know that she'll be nominated. She's got worse numbers than Biden does. So I don't know. It's I'm thinking maybe this thing may not come together for Biden, or he may, on his own volition, decided that it's really not in his best interest to run. Everybody says he's running. But, I got to tell you something about how that game is played. The moment he says he's not running, you know what he is? He's effectively a lame duck president. Nobody will pay attention to anything else that he wants or anything else that he wants to accomplish. And he understands this. He's been around the block enough to know, that lame ducks have no chance at all of getting their agenda passed. So he's going to make the noise that he's going to run and maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I just get the sense, I got nothing that indicates this is true except just a gut feeling that he's not stupid enough to try to go out into this environment with these investigations percolating and try to run. I mean, can you imagine if he tried to run and then the Republicans in the House put it all together, a month before the election? They find the smoking gun. They find the stuff from Hunter Biden's laptop that puts it all together. Democrats are not going to allow that to happen, I don't think. So I'm beginning to believe that maybe he won't run. Again, that's just my gut. I don't have any hard evidence that that's the case. But I don't understand how in the world it makes sense, and I think most Democrats have come to that conclusion. That's why I think all of a sudden the Republicans are getting these documents, quite frankly. I think the Democrats are trying to do everything they can to pressure Biden not to run. Okay, so there's that. There was also today a big TikTok hearing. Did you hear about this? The CEO of TikTok is a guy named Zhu Zhishu. I think I've got that. Zhu Zhishu. I don't choose his last name. And, the government wants to ban TikTok. And he went in there today. I mean, I think he thought he could go in there as the CEO of TikTok and convince the Congress that indeed TikTok is just fine. There's nothing to worry about. Everything is okay. He had the answers. He was quickly disabused of that notion. Understand that there's not much in Washington where Republicans and Democrats are in agreement on. They don't get along on just about anything. But in this particular hearing, in this particular topic, Republicans and Democrats were unified. They believe TikTok should be banned. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, of all the things for them to agree upon, they are not enamored with TikTok. They believe it's a national security concern, and they weren't having taken any of this stuff that was being laid out by the TikTok CEO. They were not finding anything of value in what he was saying. Here is Representative Kathy McMorris, chairman of the committee.
We do not trust TikTok will ever embrace American values for freedom, human rights, and innovation. TikTok has repeatedly chosen the path for more control, more surveillance, and more manipulation. Your platform should be banned.
And I'm telling you, again, not just Republicans, but Democrats as well were on board with that idea. Chu didn't have a friend in the room. Not one. And the real question is, okay, well, does the information truly reside on servers inside China? And Representative Wahlberg was able to get Chu to pretty much confirm that. I mean, you have to listen carefully, but he does confirm it, that indeed information from Americans who use TikTok does reside on servers inside China.
Today, do ByteDance employees in Beijing have access to American data
Congressman, we have been very open about this. We have relied on global interoperability.
You have access to American data.
Congressman, I'm answering your question if you give me just a bit of time. We rely on global interoperability, and we have employees in China. So yes, the Chinese engineers do have access to global data.
You have access to global data.
All right, did you hear that? The Chinese engineers do have access to global data. And there is a law in China that says if you're a Chinese company, you must cooperate with the Chinese Communist Party and giving them any information that they deem necessary. Now they say, well, none of that ever happened. None of that ever happened. Don't worry. You know what? Nobody was buying that at all. There were other things that I thought were very interesting from this hearing today. Again, bipartisan support for banning TikTok in this committee room. That's for sure. Representative Carter of Georgia wants to know about some of these challenges that end up on TikTok. Some of them have been deadly for children. And he wanted to have some answers about, well, how do you know how old someone is when they apply for TikTok? I mean, are you letting, 7, 8-year-olds on? And so that turned into a really interesting line of questioning.
How do you determine what age they are then?
We rely on age gating as our key age assurance.
Age
gating, which is when you ask the user what age they are. We have also developed some tools where we look at their public profile to go through the videos that they post to see whether...
Well, that's creepy. Tell me more about that.
It's public. So if you post a video, you choose that video to go public, that's how you get people to see your video. We look at those to see if it matches up the age that you talked about. Now, this is a real challenge for our industry because privacy versus age assurance is a really big problem.
Look, you keep talking about the industry. We're talking about TikTok here. We're talking about children dying. Do you know how many children have died because of this? Do you have any idea? Can you tell me?
Congressman, again, it's heartbreaking.
Can you tell me how many children in America have died because of challenges like this?
The majority of people who use our platform use it for positive experiences.
That's not what I ask you. I ask you, tell me the number of children, of U.S. children who have died because of these challenges.
Congressman, again, the majority of people who come on our platform get a good experience.
I'm not talking about the majority of children. I want to know a number.
Dangerous challenges are not allowed on our platform. If we find them, we will remove them. We take this very seriously.
Obviously, you found one today and you removed it. We had to bring it to your attention, and I know I'm out of time. Thank you for being here. Welcome again to the most bipartisan committee in Congress.
I mean, that's a pretty interesting point. He made the point there as well that, again, there is bipartisan support for this banning of TikTok. Finally, if you really want to know where this guy Chu's loyalties lie, you should listen to this line of questioning that came up. It had to do with whether or not Mr. Chu felt that the Uyghurs had been mistreated by the Chinese. Now, I mean, if you don't know anything about the Uyghurs are a minority, and the Chinese have a history of mistreating them. It's a very sensitive issue with the Chinese, and he didn't want to lay down a position on it. Here we go.
Congresswoman, if you use our app and you open it, you will find our users who give all sorts of content.
That's not my question. My question is, do you agree that the Chinese government has persecuted the Uyghur population?
Well, it's deeply concerning to hear about all accounts of human rights abuse. My role here is to explain what our platform does on this.
It's a pretty easy question. Do you agree that the Chinese government has persecuted the Uyghur population?
Congresswoman, I'm here to describe TikTok and what we do as a platform. And as a platform, we allow our users to freely express their views on this issue and any other issue that matters to them.
Well, you didn't answer the question.
No, he didn't answer the question. And the reason he didn't answer the question is because his Chinese bosses would be upset. Folks, if your kid has got TikTok on the phone, you might as well begin the process now. I think it's going to be banned. There's bipartisan support in the House, bipartisan support in the Senate. A measure will go through. It will be sent to the president's desk, and he will have little choice but to sign it, or because he doesn't have the votes to override it. TikTok, I think, is on the pathway to being banned the way it looks right now. And, you can do it now or you can do it later, but it seems like TikTok's days are numbered. It is now 20 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN. Let me tell you about Dr. Stephen Poss. He runs the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Clinic. And here's a question. Do you sometimes wake yourself up with your own snoring? Is your sleeping partner giving you the sharp elbow in the middle of the night? Have you been relegated to sleeping on the couch? Well, why don't you do something about it? Set up an appointment with Dr. Stephen Poss at the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Clinic. 2 locations, one in Brentwood, one in Murfreesboro. He makes a customized FDA-approved mouthpiece proven effective in treating mild to moderate cases of sleep apnea. I mean, did you try the CPAP machine? Well, let's look at another option. Set up an appointment with Dr. Poss and find out if this approach will work for you. Listen to what Julie said. Since my husband got his mouthpiece, he basically stopped snoring at night. Our bedroom is much quieter. I'm sleeping so much better. He's sleeping better. It's been a win-win for us. So start getting a good night's sleep. Start feeling more energized during the day. Contact the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Clinic at your earliest convenience to set up an appointment with Dr. Poss. 615-850-8445. Learn more at drposs.com.
Denver School Board holds an emergency meeting today following the school shooting at East High School. And the money news. 6:30, SuperTalk 99.7 WTN.
All right. It is 25 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on SuperTalk. I don't know if you've heard about this story or not, but this is raising a few eyebrows in the nation's capital and elsewhere. Federal prosecutors disclosed, I guess it was yesterday late, that a witness expected to testify for the defense in the seditious conspiracy trial of former Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio and 4 associates turns out was secretly working as a government informant for nearly 2 years after the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. This according to a defense lawyer in a court filing. Carmen Hernandez, who is a lawyer for former Proud Boy chapter leader Zachary Real, asked a judge to schedule an immediate emergency hearing and suspend the trial until these issues have been considered and resolved. How in the world can you have somebody who's the defense is intending to call and then find out in the middle of the trial that actually this person was an FBI informant? Unbelievable. Hernandez said in court papers the defense team was told by prosecutors that the witnesses they were planning to call to the stand had been a government informant. The judge ordered prosecutors to file a response. That was going to happen, I think, today. They'll be trying to decide what to do by the time they get to on Friday. They did not, a U.S. Attorney's Office did not immediately comment on the filing. Listen to this. Hernandez said the unnamed informant participated in prayer meetings with relatives of at least one of the Proud Boys on trial and had discussions with family members about replacing one of the defense lawyers on the case. The informant had also been in contact with at least one of the defense lawyers and at least one of the 5 defendants. This is unbelievable. It's the latest twist in a trial that's been bogged down by bickering between lawyers and judges and has already lasted much longer than expected. Defense lawyers have repeatedly asked the judge to declare a mistrial over a variety of issues that they say have been unfair to their client. I don't know. To me, this is inherently unfair that you have a situation where somebody that you were going to call as a witness, you know, when it gets time to call them, then and only then does the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI reveal that this has been an FBI informant who was working undercover and had infiltrated this organization, the Proud Boys. What's interesting, on the day of January, it's all about January 6th, and on the day of January 6th, I remember coming in contact with all of the Proud Boys as they were marching around. In fact, there were some food trucks set up there, not far from the Capitol, and everybody was trying to get a quick bite to eat before things got more interesting as the day progressed. I was there, just as an observer, but the Proud Boys were there, and we all had lunch together. They marched up in a big line, and they had. So maybe this guy was even there then that day. How interesting is this? Wow. I have a feeling that this matter is something that may actually be a serious problem, and the judge may not like it. I mean, I don't know how in the world the judge can allow this to go forward when this was never revealed. I mean, doesn't this have to come up in discovery, one would think? It seems to me when you get to discovery, you're supposed to know everything that the other side has. That's part of discovery. And the other side, if they knew he was an FBI informant and did not reveal it to the judge and to the court and to the defense team, seems like that's a mistrial, or certainly could be a mistrial. Interesting. We'll watch it. We'll let you know what happens. Things are happening on it in the next day or so. It is now 6:30 on SuperTalk 99.7 WTN.
30 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Right now, 73 degrees in Nashville. Expecting some storms tomorrow evening into Saturday morning. The possible for severe storms could be high as well. Likely strong winds and strong thunderstorms. We'll keep you updated with it right here. Weather and traffic coming up in about 5 minutes. Starting with some breaking news. A fatal crash on Highway 41 near Gum Road. The crash involved 2 vehicles, and right now officials know at least one person has passed away in that crash. The Denver School Board held an emergency meeting today with parents demanding answers after a student shot and wounded 2 deans inside his high school on Wednesday. Both victims are recovering. Mola Leahy reports from Denver.
Officials say the suspect, identified as 17-year-old Austin Lyle, was found dead in a wooded area 50 miles from East High School after a 10-hour manhunt. And law enforcement sources confirming to ABC News that back in 2021, Lyle was expelled from a different school after bringing a weapon And in a separate incident, he was once charged as a minor with possession of a dangerous weapon. Lyle, who school leaders described as potentially violent, began attending East High this year under a safety plan requiring him to be patted down and searched for weapons every day.
Over to the money news. Daria Albinger lets us know what went down on the market today.
Stocks closed with some gains, but well off of their session highs. The Dow rose 75 points. It had been up more than 400. The Nasdaq added 117 for the session, and the S&P closed up 12. The CEO of TikTok told lawmakers that the social media site is not an agent for the Chinese government nor any other nation's government. The app is owned by ByteDance, which has offices in Beijing. There are millions of American users, but the site is dogged by persistent claims that it threatens national security and user privacy, and it could be used to promote pro-Beijing propaganda and misinformation. Fewer Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week. The Labor Department says they fell by 1,000 to 191,000 from the previous week. Starbucks' new CEO may be your next barista. He's going to work a half-day shift once a month in some of the stores to stay in touch with company culture.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
You know, it's that time of year when the housing market starts to heat up. I mean, with rates and home prices actually coming down over where they were last year, Accurate Mortgage is predicting competition for homes among buyers may be as fierce as it was last year, if not more. Now is the time to get pre-qualified for an Accurate Mortgage home loan so you can be one step ahead of your competition and win that home of your dreams. You see, Accurate Mortgage has many options to help make your new mortgage more affordable. One thing, a payment reduction mortgage. This is really interesting. Check into this. Perfect for easing into your new payment. Listen, these folks are great to work with. Take the advice of Carl Y. He said, "This is our second time purchasing a home. We were surprised how seamless the process was compared to the other lender we went with on our previous home. We would definitely use them again." Paul put it this way: "Accurate Mortgage team was amazing in getting our refinance closed quickly with a minimum of fuss. I will not go to another team for my mortgage needs. They made me a customer for life." And I quite frankly, my experience was just flawless, just seamless, so easy. For more details, visit Accurate Mortgage today at AccurateMTG.com. Accurate Mortgage Group, a division of Acopia LLC, an equal housing lender. NMLS number is 4664. It's 37 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. You're listening to The Drive. I'm Brian Wilson here till 7 o'clock, where we turn it over to the one and only, the great one, Mark Levin. He's going to be around. He'll carry on for several more hours after that. And we're so happy that you're with us. We really appreciate you being here and being a part of what we do here. And honestly, I am humbled at times at how gracious an audience we have, how wonderful and loyal our audience is. Thank you so much for all of that. It means a lot. A new report is showing that the Biden administration was working hand in hand with a group called the National School Board Association and the Attorney General to classify parents as domestic terrorists. There's new details about this. This is something, of course, we've known for a while. But now we have this select subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government and the House Judiciary Committee. They're showing that there was extensive collusion between the Biden administration and the National School Board Association. The partnership came as a group drafted a letter calling on the Department of Justice to classify parents as domestic terrorists. Are you ready? The National School Board Association wrote to the Department of Justice asking parents to be classified as domestic terrorists if they had the temerity to go to a school board meeting and voice their difference of opinion with the way things were going on issues like critical race theory, etc. The letter also asked Attorney General Merrick Garland to use the Patriot Act, implemented after 9/11, to go after parents expressing criticism over school lockdowns, critical race theory, and inappropriate sexual content in the classroom. Wow. Internal executive branch documents indicate the Biden administration's use of federal law enforcement and counterterrorism resources is an example of government weaponization against American parents. If the Justice Department performed any due diligence prior to the issuance of the Attorney General's memorandum, it would have understood and clearly and forcefully that the federal intervention was unwarranted. But no. The School Board Association wanted it. They worked behind the scenes to make sure that this matter went forward. And then the Attorney General jumped in and weaponized the FBI, the Department of Justice, and parents were looked at as domestic terrorists. I'm telling you that there is something so incredibly wrong about this. Now, when the word got out that the National School Board Association had done such a thing, there were school boards all over the country who were associated with the National School Board Association who cut their relationship instantly. We're not having that. And they took a big hit as a result of this. And rightfully so. There's nothing wrong. I mean, instead of calling them terrorists, we should call them patriots. They are doing exactly what our founding fathers imagined that you would do in a situation. When you elect someone and they do something boneheaded, you're supposed to hold them accountable. You're supposed to go in there and read them the Riot Act. It's called a little thing, I don't know, you may have heard about it. I read about it in all the textbooks when I was in school. It's called the First Amendment. Speak your mind. Speak truth to power. But no, they didn't want anybody doing that. And then they were, you're angry. Yeah, we're angry at some of the stuff that you were doing without our knowledge. Keeping information from parents, etc., etc., etc. Again, how many times have we heard about some element of government being weaponized for political purposes, to put forward some weird agenda that most Americans would find reprehensible? This just came out a little while ago. A Pentagon diversity chief receives no disciplinary action after probe into anti-white posts. The Pentagon's diversity, equity, and inclusion chief is Calissa Wing. She said at one point, if another Karen tells me about her feelings, I might lose it. The Pentagon said it will issue no disciplinary action to its former diversity, equity, and inclusion chief, Calissa Wing, over a series of divisive statements about white people, according to a letter Thursday to the office of Representative Elise Stefanik, who sits on the House Armed Services Committee. Wing was appointed as diversity, equity, and inclusion chief at the Pentagon's Education Wing, the Department of Education's Defense Education Activity, in 2021. She was involved in curriculum at DODEA, which services over 60,000 military-connected children in 160 schools around the globe. Wing said her goal was to, quote-unquote, tear down the system in education. When asked about whether it was time for a racial reckoning and revolution, she responded in the affirmative. She was put under probe by the Pentagon on September 17th over tweets which referred to white people as Karens. I'm exhausted with these white folk in these professional development sessions, she wrote. This lady actually had the audacity to say that black people can be racist too. I had to stop the session and give Karen the business. We are not the majority. We don't have power. Caudacity is a slang term that is used to describe audacity demonstrated by Caucasians. In another occasion, Wing responded to a user who said, I'm exhausted by 99% of the white men in education and 95% of the white women. Where can I get a break from the white nonsense for a while? Wow. And then she responded, if another Karen tells me about her feelings, I might just lose it. The Pentagon repeatedly dragged its feet in releasing findings of its investigation, but at the end of the day, nothing happened. It would not bring disciplinary action against Calissa Wing, its former diversity, equity, and inclusion chief. She said she did not make any disparaging comments against white people. I would never categorize an entire group of people to disparage them. Well, she did. 22 House Republicans demanded immediate action to investigate her for egregious bias. This woke ideology is destroying our military and poisoning the minds of American children, Stefanik has said. If President Biden wants to know why he has a recruitment problem and low morale, he need look no further, said Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican of Arkansas. This is very intentional. They put her in this place because the Defense Department is another institution that the Biden administration has every intention of tearing down. That's a quote from former CIA Director Mike Pompeo. I mean, it's everywhere. Here's what happens. I mean, Joe Biden is a weak president. He's not in charge. He has surrounded himself with all of these woke people, and they are completely, and while they've got the levers of government, they're going to do everything they can to put forward this radical agenda. And Americans are just fed up with it. They think it's too much. It's too far. It's not right. I mean, look, I don't have a problem with diversity. I don't have a problem with inclusion. I don't have a problem with equality. Not at all. I want the level playing field. I want everybody to have the same opportunity. But, I mean, come on, folks. Some of the stuff that you're trying to push on our children is just way, way, way out of line. It's not within the standard norms of most American people. Arkansas, has Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders been taking on all this woke stuff over there. Arkansas bans transgender students from using restrooms that don't align with biological sex. Our schools are no place for the radical left's woke agenda, she writes. This applies to multi-person restrooms and locker rooms at pre-garden through 12th grade and charter schools. While the law does not go into effect until later in the summer, it will be placed before the next school year starts in the 23-24 school year. Sanders explained the bill was enacted to protect children from the woke agenda. And Michigan, a Michigan university, a college, is coming under fire for hosting 5 graduation celebrations separated by, are you ready for this, race, sexuality, gender identity, in addition to the university's larger commencement ceremony. Grand Valley State University's Multicultural Affairs Office lists graduation ceremonies or celebrations for Black students, Asian students, Latinx students, they call it, Native American students, and LGBTQIA plus students next month. The university will have a general commencement ceremony for all, but they call the graduation celebration for some of these different organizations an opportunity to come together and acknowledge Laker accomplishments in the spirit and traditions of culture. You know what I as a dad who has a kid in college right now, all I really want to know is that my kid graduated. You got that diploma, you got your little tassel, and you're ready to go out into the world and earn a living. That's all that I want to know out of this thing. But I guess, that's too simple. What's wrong with just going to school to learn a profession or learn a career or to prepare yourself for the workplace? Whatever happened to that idea? Whatever happened to the idea of going to the university and having conversations about things and having debate and having, listening to different ideas that you agree with and ideas that you disagree with? Whatever happened to that concept in the university environment? No. Now only one side can be heard. And I'm telling you, it's irritating. It's irritating for parents who are just, paying the freight here to get their kids educated, that there is a absolutely overt attempt to try to change the hearts and minds of kids that are in the university environment so that they don't want to hear anything but one side of the conversation. Just one side. We're not going to hear all viewpoints. We're just going to hear one side. Okay. I guess, something happened to the quaint old notion of just going to a university for an education and being able to debate the great ideas of our times. It is now 49 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on SuperTalk 99.7. DT McCall's, the spring season is upon us. Now's the time to get busy with mowing your yard and working out in the yard. And maybe you need a new Cub Cadet mower. Well, as it turns out, starting tomorrow, a big spring Cub Cadet mower sale at the store in Lebanon. It will run from March 24th through April 1st. DT McCall & Sons is ranked as the top Cub Cadet dealer in the United States. They have Cub Cadet riding mowers. They're all sizes. 42, 60, 72-inch decks. You can get a Cub Cadet walk-behind mower if you have a smaller lot. And when you purchase a Cub Cadet mower from DT McCall's, you get access to their in-house service department, nearly impossible to find better mower service anywhere else. You know, with a large selection of Cub Cadet mowers, free delivery, and an in-house service department, it's an easy choice. I must say, if you don't know about Cub Cadet mowers, you're missing a bet. I have a big Cub Cadet mower that I got at DT McCall's. It's a ZT2. It's got a 60-inch deck. I love my zero-turn mower. I just adore it, and I'm telling you, it's one of the best things I've ever owned. So, if this sounds like something you're looking for, remember, Lebanon store starting tomorrow, a big spring Cub Cadet mower sale. Take advantage of it. Learn about their 5 convenient locations by going to their website, dtmccalls.com. That's it for me. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Drive. We greatly appreciate those who find favor with what we do. I mean, we really are very touched that you listen each and every day. Thank you so much for your loyalty. It's greatly appreciated. Coming up next, the one, the only Mark Levin. See you tomorrow at 3.